The opinions expressed by tonight's guest do not represent the opinions or position of Spaced Out Radio, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with SOR Media. Listener discretion is advised. Here at Spaced Out Radio, we are about to take you higher. Broadcasting from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to you listening around the world. This is Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa N Thomas. You can follow Tessa on our Facebook page at Spaced Out Radio, on Twitter at Tessa TNT, and you can subscribe to her YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio for the archive. But we break on command 'cause women rule the world. Buckle up, space travelers. Let the countdown begin.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time to go for a ride with host Tessa N Thomas.
I'm such a lucky guy, 'cause after all this time, it's like the deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening, Spaced Out Radio. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a Rocky Mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 419.9 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, July 22nd, Monday, July 23rd for those of you on the East Coast and beyond. This is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a rockin' week, an awesome day, and an even better evening. I am your host, Tessa TNT, and I am live tonight broadcasting from beautiful Bayfield, Colorado. We are 150,000 strong nightly on Spaced Out Radio Network, spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, as well as Deep Talk Radio, which you can find at deeptalkradio.com. Don't forget to head to our website, spacedoutradio.com, where you can peruse the Spaced Out Radio store and read the encounter online dealing with everything strange, paranormal, and odd. So tonight, I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight, we are talking to and getting to know psychic medium Jamie Clark. Jamie Clark was born in Sandusky, Ohio. Jamie had signs early in life that he would someday be helping people with his remarkable talents. As a child, he was concerned about being different from others with what was going on in his mind. With the guidance of his mother, Elaine, also a gifted medium, they began to research and explore the depth of Jamie's emerging talents. Through years of studying and a series of profound revelations, Jamie discovered that he had the gift of psychic intuition and could also communicate messages and feelings between people living and those who have left this physical plane of existence. In other words, he can communicate with those we have loved and lost. Now, with thousands of powerful connections made worldwide and years of experience as his guide, Jamie offers his healing phenomena to those who need it most, people searching for life direction and guidance, as well as those seeking answers and closures from family and friends that have passed. Welcome, Jamie. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Hey, Tessa. Thank you very much for having me. And I'm looking forward to having fun with you and getting some insight. And hello, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to meet you.
So when did you first discover you had a gift?
Well, you know, I'm slow but sure, so I had to do it pretty much my whole life. When I was 5 years old, I was walking from the living room into the kitchen. My mom was a couple of feet behind me. And as I crossed that threshold from the living room into the kitchen, once I stepped across it, I was stopped in my tracks, and this warmth just came washing over me. And then floating above the kitchen table was Jesus, the Christ, arms down, and then looking at me, smiling, and he had spaceships, UFOs over his shoulders. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on with that. But from that moment on, I was ignited. Now, and it lasted about 10 seconds. And my mom was freaking out because I'm standing there in a trance and not saying anything. She's like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And so when I came out of it, we went to the typewriter because we didn't have computers back then. And we typed the whole experience up. And at the end, I just felt compelled to take that piece of paper and sign P.S. I was not afraid. And so, you know, a lot of my lifetime, I always questioned what was the spaceships, UFOs, over his shoulders, and why Jesus? One, Jesus is an extraterrestrial like all of us are. And two, this is not the only planet, not only the world that the Christ consciousness has touched. Now, that became huge for me because my mom was a gifted psychic medium. She would say stuff, and 2 hours later it was happening. And I'm like, "Are you making that happen? What's going on?" She's like, "No, I'm just reading the potential of what's happening and what's going to more than likely happen if they stay in that same direction." And so for 20 years, we got to study all the different aspects, you know, many thousands of books and all the different perspectives, the best that I could, to get more of a well-rounded knowledge to go, at least I have some information to work with. And, you know, throughout the years, my own spiritual experiences and my own insight has been tremendous. And I'm like you, Tess, and if I can help even just one person, I've done an amazing job. This is not only what I do, this is the essence of who I am. It's in my beingness. And everybody is a psychic medium. Like I say, if you got a soul, you're a psychic medium. It's what level do you want to take it to?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we all have that potential. It's just a matter of opening up to it and building upon it.
Well, and that was the big thing from a young age because I needed to be activated back then. I began even out in public as a young kid going, you know, I'd meet somebody and I'd be like, "Hi, I know I don't know you, but may I say something to you?" I always ask for permission before I say anything. Otherwise, you'll freak them out, potentially. And so, you know, some little punk kid's going to be talking to an adult and giving them information. And they're like, that's exactly what's going on. How could you know that? And I'm like, you know, we all have guides, and I'm just listening. It's information. So I just needed to be a validation, like, thank you. You know, this is coming from a kid, man. Out of the mouths of babes will the truth flow. But I saw how much of a huge validation, and to see that shift in consciousness right before my eyes. And, you know, sometimes I get skeptical. People coming to me, I always say, be skeptical, always question everything, just be open. So to see these people, some of them, you know, looking at me like, okay, what do you have to say? And then once they get that validation and their eyes light up and click going, that's the very thing I asked for. I needed validation that I was going in the right direction. And you, young man, gave me that. I'm like, well, great, thanks. Glad I could help. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
So, man, I just kept going, you know, just out of the blue. And I loved that to be a difference. And, you know, in the beginning, when they would break down crying, I was like, am I doing something wrong? What's up? And I was actually doing something right. Because you're connecting with people's souls. They're thinking with the mind and feeling with the soul. And those feelings are worth 1,000 words and then some. So it becomes a much more informative energy connection for me. I don't know anything and I don't think anything. I feel everything. And those feelings are different than emotions. Emotions are happy and sad. Feelings are information, like I feel like you're a good person, or it feels like the right thing to do. It's always information, much more full. I've just learned to trust those feelings and act on it. And as you know, like I do, you got to have enough guts to say some of that stuff. Go, I don't understand it, but here, I need to share this. And they'll be like, I do understand that. So I've learned that, you know, throughout my life, I've seen it. One word changes people's lives, going, there's no way you could have known that. I'm like, yeah, except we know it. And what are we doing? And to see, because I'm always playful. I don't mean to be disrespectful or flippant. It's just, this is an amazing thing, man. When you have your people and we think that we're so disconnected and we never get a chance to talk with them again, and they come before me, Joe Schmo, who doesn't know them from anybody, and I begin to give them characteristics and circumstances, names, dates, places, experiences, things that are more evidential than, and they love you. Like, oh, come on, man. No cheesy validations. We all have they. I'll be as specific as possible. And so I found that, how our loved ones on the other side know us out of 7.5 billion people is like we have an IP address on the internet web, we have an SP address, a soul print address on the universal web, shifting your global positioning system to your God positioning system. It's all truly one.
Indeed. So, was this experience that you had in the kitchen, was that your first paranormal experience, or was that just like, that's awesome. So did he have a message for you?
No, it was a download of pure energy awareness. And that's why I was just amplified. My soul was sensitized from that moment on. Now, as I've grown, JC assists me in all of the stuff that I do, as well as other capacities of, some scientific studies and things like that. So it's phenomenal when, it's like, oh, yeah, sure, really. Here's the accuracy of the information, all of those dynamics. And for him to be as patient and gracious as he is, every time he comes around me, he's got a golden light. It's always a golden energy, man. I'm like, wow. And I've learned to deal with, yes, of course, the golden, because he works with that, but also the white light, which is the encompassment of all of the colors of the spectrum. And so using those, within my chakras as well, because we go, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and white on the top, at least for me. And then when I was doing another show as a host, and it was, we got to interview Bill Holman, which is the keeper of the Mitchell Hedges Crystal Skull. So I'm not sure if anyone's heard about that, but pretty cool. And during that, we had taped all day and interviewed him up in Sedona, man. Talk about amplified. Mm-hmm. And he let me touch that skull. As soon as I touched it, all of my chakras went white. I'm like, what the frig is that? What happened? They were all colors, and now it's white. I don't understand. And I have a master guide named Chi. He's very patient with me, but also very insightful. And what he said was, well, now, because the chakras are filtration systems of receiving information, and depending on what area you're receiving gives you a different energy read. I'm like, okay. And then he said, well, those are great, but those are only one color in the spectrum of all of them. I'm like, so what? You're like, well, the white encompasses every color in it. So no matter what chakra you were going to read from, you're getting the fullness of information in all of the spectrums of color. And I'm like, cool. Because that night when I was, sleeping in Sedona, just before I went to bed, I closed my eyes and literally my body was light. White light was shining out of my eyeballs through my slits, man. I'm like, holy cow, and you'll question your sanity. Like, I'm not that crazy. It takes a little sanity to realize you're potentially insane, but I knew these experiences were real, and to be calibrated to be more sensitized to read people even more effectively. And that was huge. So I'm kind of the oddball. I've had a lot of those kinds of experiences that seem to be out of the norm, but that's the norm for me. And I'm very thankful. It's that type that I've gotten used to going, oh, really? We're going interdimensional and seeing multiple realities? Okay, here we go. Boom. And so finding a balance within dimensional frequencies, because to me, very, effectively, heaven as we know it is right here, right now. Ascended masters on another channel, angels on another, extraterrestrials, interdimensionals, they're all channels within. And so all you have to do is tune into it. And just because you're not tuning in doesn't mean it's not playing. It's always playing. What can you connect with? I've just learned to get as many spectrums and channels as possible, because no one's the same physically. They're not going to be the same metaphysically. I need to have the unique approach and information for that person. Don't generalize. And, whatever. No, you get specific, then it's real. And I was like, no, man, that's either really good guesswork or, something to it. I'm like, yeah, huh? All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, and sometimes that slightly different perspective, not better or worse, but different, gives them more fullness of information going, I heard that stuff 1,000 times, but click, I kind of get that. All right, you know what? I'm going to give that a try. I'm like, please do, and let me know how it goes. And every time they're like, man, I started picking up information before it happened. I'm like, perfect, that's psychic. They said it was very subtle. It just kind of popped into my mind. Yep. It's always, you'll receive it. I never try to reach out and get the information. It is always playing, but it comes to me. Same thing with the mediumship. I don't reach out to get the people. You're not going to make them do anything, but I allow them to come in their own way. So it's huge. And, the more accurate you are with this psychic medium, the more responsibility goes with it. Because, every once in a while I'll have somebody who's not seen me before, and I'll give them information, and they'll be like, yeah, right, sure. And I'm like, no, I can certainly be wrong. I always give myself permission to be wrong. Anyone who perceives themselves as always right is going to be an ascended master or the universal oneness, which we all are. But within that, it's just become a great experience, and to be able to learn so much from other people as well as myself, as well as guides, and in that power, because a lot of people feel very safe with me, and rightly so. In addition, they will open their souls up going, Jamie, I've never said this to anybody. And as they open up, they'll tend to look at you going, your eyes twitching? You judging me, boy? I'm like, no. And it takes one to know one, and I've done that in many other lifetimes. And once they get to go, man, he's really not judging. He's open and receptive with love and compassion. Well, because we're all connected. We're all one. And when they can have somebody who is able to listen, not just hear them, but listen to what they're saying, I'm able to give them information, directions of potential, interactions with other people, all of those dynamics that I become a road sign. That's it. I love you. I'm just a road sign. Here's most likely what's coming up for you. Do you like it or do you not? I love to get people proactive, because once I've said something and then it happens, now they're like, well, you said that and it happened, so now anything coming out of my mouth is the gospel. So it'll be very important that I don't make stuff up, because if you throw those cheesy generalities, everyone can do that. You'll know when somebody's just throwing generals out there, or if they're really tapping into your soul frequency.
So when you went to Sedona and you experienced that with the crystal skull, was that through a tour that others can take? Because I've really been looking into that area, and it's pretty epic. But is there a tour that we could take, or was that just a friend of yours?
Yeah, well, he's a friend, and also he was a guest on a TV show. It actually got shelved. It didn't air, but it was called The Third Eye Connection. So I was the host. I would interview people. So we spent the whole day, and I interviewed Bill. He's a sweetheart, man. Great guy. He's into martial arts, all those kinds of things, and he's that keeper of the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull. And so within that, a lot of people see that, but he doesn't allow a lot of people to touch that. So I was very honored, and kind of like you said, Tessa, I don't mean to be just casual, but in that, everything was amplified. So for all of that to kind of come together with the higher amplifications, the vortexes, and the crystal skull was huge. It's just like zip, it all amplified even more. And that's probably why my body of light was, radiant, because we all are spiritual beings. So the more you activate it, the more your light shines. The more you use your intuitive abilities, the brighter your light gets. Not better or worse. It's just light is information. Love is creation. They know when you're getting information and when you're on. It's like, oh, Jamie's big head is lit up. Hey, can you please tell? Because I can just be anywhere, in the store, at the movie theaters, or anything. I'm Joe Schmo. And if I'm not working, which in an experience, one of them was I was literally at the movies with my boys, and I was in line getting popcorn and sodas and all that good stuff. And from the other side, I'm like, okay, you got my attention. I'm not working, but what do I need to say, and who do I need to say it to? And it was a gentleman, and he's like, there are 3 women behind you, because I hadn't looked. I didn't know if there was anyone behind me. I'm like, okay. And he said, well, the one in the center is my wife. I am her husband. Can you please let her know that I am around her and tell her that I passed from a heart attack? And there's a lot of ways you can pass. It's not just, you can be drowned, shot, whatever. And I turned around, and there was 3 ladies behind me. And the 2 on the outside looked fairly young. The one in the middle looked like she had more years of wisdom. And so I said to, all of the ladies, hi, I know I don't know you, but may I say something to you? And they're like, well, sure, of course. And I said to the mother figure, the wife, I said, did you happen to lose a husband? Did a husband pass that was connected to you? She's like, yeah, as a matter of fact. And then I said, did he pass from cancer? That was weird. That fell out my mouth. Interesting. Did he pass from a heart attack? And she's like, yes. How do you know that? I said, well, I'm a medium and I connect, and your husband has been bugging me. And so I wanted to honor that and let you know, because he wanted to make sure that he is around you. And it's not like, our loved ones are doing this all day. Are you done brushing your teeth? Man, they're having thing. But as soon as you think about them, you're connecting with them. You're tapping them on the shoulder. And thought is instantaneous. Here to other sides of the universe are you instantly through thought. Light's a little slow at 186,000 miles per second. So vastly different.
We have a question in the chat room from Amanda, and she's wondering, what does Jamie feel is the difference between an empath and a medium?
Well, an empath is a psychic. It's just another label. Now, that's an excellent question, Amanda. And to me, I've learned strongly that I used to think that not every psychic is a medium, but every medium is definitely psychic. Well, as I was going and, I was asking my master guide, Chi, I'm like, what is the difference? Is there a difference? He's like, well, Jamie, what do you do when you read for somebody psychically? And I said, well, I read their thoughts, their attention to those thoughts, which creates vibrations of information, and I read it. He's like, okay, so what do you do with mediumship? Connect to their thoughts, their attention to those thoughts, which creates vibration of information, and I read it. The only difference between psychic and mediumship is a psychic read is in the physical body. A mediumship read is in the metaphysical body, pure energy state. Both are conscious soul connections. Doesn't matter if you're in the body or not, you're still the same you. And when you get out of this vehicle, this body, I equate it like the vehicle you drive around on the street. As soon as you step out of that vehicle, you don't lose who you are or your personality or your circumstances. You retain that and more. And so, a lot of times I'll get those personalities and characteristics and circumstances, and it becomes very powerful to go out of all the people on the planet and personalities and characteristics. They'll be like, that's exactly how they used to be, and that's what they said. I'm like, well, they're still saying that's how they still are, right? I'm just mimicking them. I don't know them. They were like, yeah, as a matter of fact, that's right. So, it becomes a lot more validating. And for me, it's about love. It's about empowerment. Nobody needs to be fixed. Nobody needs to be saved. Just showing the power within. And if they choose to work with it, empower themselves and begin to live life more than survive it. Because surviving will wear you down and tire you out. So, Amanda, that's basically from my perspective, that's the only difference is the physical body. Both are consciousness.
Well, she says, wow, thank you, and very cool answer.
Awesome. Well, thank you, and great question. If you have any more, drop it in, man. I'd love to share. If I have any insight, I will. If not, I don't have a clue. I'm not going to make stuff up, or I wouldn't be on the show.
So did you start working with your psychic abilities as soon as you realized you had them, or did it take you a little bit to get used to them?
Well, it just became natural. This ability is so natural, it's supernatural. That's the point. So that information just came to me, and I would feel things. Now, my mom and I got to study, as I said, for 20 years in all the different aspects. Plus, we were working on mental telepathy with each other. We'd write down a word, we'd send it mentally, and see if we could pick it up. And we started picking that stuff up. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So then I began to understand it's your mind sight, your third eye. You're just seeing in a spiritual vibrational pattern of energy. And those patterns, those energies create vibrations of information, and I read it. And each object, each person has their own unique vibrational pattern. That's why there is no guesswork, and it's precision on the universe's part. Kind of thing.
Nice. So your mom was supportive and, she sent you through those exercises and such. Was your dad pretty open to it?
My whole family used their abilities. My dad was very practical about it, very intelligent. He was an engineer. He worked with his abilities, but he didn't push it in any way. He just knew how to read people and circumstances. My brothers and sisters all used their abilities. So it was really nice that it was completely embraced and accepted because, there's kids out there who start using their abilities and, family members are like, don't you use them. That's one of them people. And so, wow, they stop using it. And, a big challenge that I found for a lot of people, in this case, when they start receiving information, sometimes they'll pick up on the negative information more powerfully than the positive as we perceive it. And then they start doing this. Man, if that's all I'm going to do is see the negative, then I don't want to do this anymore. And my response is, well, guess what? Good and bad as we perceive it are right alongside of each other. I just train myself to go, okay, if you make this decision, this is most likely what you're going to get. If you make this decision, this is most likely what you're going to get here. What do you feel is right for you? And when they have some versatility of potential, meaning some people come to me and they expect, you better do this and do. I'm like, I don't know anything for anybody. I'll share this perspective and be accurate with the information. Your choice if you'd like to listen or not. But once you get that accuracy, they're knowing very quickly, you're not just guessing at this stuff. You're pretty specific and concise. Yeah, because you've got a clearer vibrational pattern. And I found that, through natural laws, the universe is organization, not chaos. But all these natural laws keep everything in organized energy. And these natural laws are never selective of themselves, meaning they're like the soil in the ground. That soil of itself does not question in any way who plants that seed. Good, bad, happy, sad, murderer, healer, president, anything. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't question what seed you're planting. It's not going to go, nope, I'm not doing tomatoes today. Yeah, right. Anything you plant, it's going to act on, which is how the universe is. This seemingly thin, empty air in front of you is pure God soil. Every thought you have is a seed that you're planting into the universal soil. Your attention to those thoughts are what waters them and creates the stronger vibe. You plant lemon trees, you're going to get lemon trees. You plant oak trees, you're going to get oak trees. And each and every thought, each and every seed that is planted already has the full potential manifestation of that seed, or it would not grow. Meaning the oak tree is already within it as a complete. It just takes the amount of time to manifest the very exact dynamic that it was in the seed. Now it's expressed. So I learned very quickly to cultivate what I want to enjoy, which is planting the roses, the flowers, and a lot more. Because those natural laws are how we've come to see things as karma. Are you into karma, Tessa?
Yeah, I do believe in karma.
Can I, because I love pushing people's buttons, can I have some fun and share something with you?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, if there's karma, to me, a basic meaning of karma is an action creates a karmic debt that either needs to be repaid or balanced in some way. Is that a decent basic meaning?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm like, just to get the basics, no big thing. Now, within that, if there's karma, what does that say, Tessa? If you are living your own beautiful life and doing you, and there's these other two people in their own life experiences, and one of those people hurts the other one. So, of course, that person who just did the hurting has a karmic debt that he needs to be repaid or balanced in some way. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so what does that say then if there's karma, if you are cosmically and karmically chosen to come in and co-create an experience, because we always co-create with others, a circumstance through karma to affect that person like they affected the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what I didn't tell you is that original hurting of those two people was their completion of the karmic debt. How are you supposed to know when a debt is paid? If you can do that, that's impressive. That's ascended mastership. But what if it's natural laws? And like I said, it's never selective of itself. And in this case, it's a vibrational match, meaning if you stay on that thought, that channel, that frequency of hurting the person, hopefully be love, health, and empowering. But either way, if you stay in that channel and you don't tune into something else, you will get something similar or identical. But tell me, Tessa, there aren't people right now that live on this planet that have murdered and stolen, and they're never caught, and they live amazing lives? What if each and every interaction with somebody is a completion of a karmic debt? Because if you are into karma, which is a great thing if you are, it doesn't, again, just whatever works for you. But if you're into karma, you will never, ever get off the karmic wheel. And then if, this person completes their debt and then the universe is going to make you go hurt this person after they completed their debt already, to me it didn't make sense that we've got a God, he, she, going, go hurt him nice and slow like. I'm getting a 2 for 1. Yeah, right. I learned that the universe is always for us and never, ever against us. It does not register negatives. So if you're thinking about it, you must want it. And basically, where your thoughts go, energy will flow. And those who talk about lack are living it. Those who talk about abundance are living it. And you don't see successful people go around saying they're a failure. Don't say it, don't play it, don't live it. No luck, no coincidence, synchronicity, precision on the universe's part.
Yeah, I've seen, instant karma several times. But it's true, there are those people out there. It seems like, the good die young, and those who do wrong get to live forever. And I don't know if it's a long, healthy life, but, people just sit there and, watch the wheel tick and wait for something to happen, which, I don't waste my time with. It's going to happen when it's meant to happen. And I do believe that certain things happen for a reason. It's lessons in life. If you learn from it, it's not a mistake, it's a lesson. And, there's so many variations of it, but I do believe anything's possible. And I don't sit around waiting to see karma happen, but it is kind of entertaining to see it in action.
Yeah, exactly. And one action can trigger another. But it's that kind of co-creation that those two brought themselves together magnetically to create that particular circumstance. And if you were to see it, as one was hurting the other, whatever the case is, well, what if one was not wanting to be hurt in any way? They were wanting to be protected, but then the other person was wanting to take a life or to hurt a person. Because I found very quickly, for me, in asking the universe, for most of my life I would do this. Universe, keep me protected, keep me protected, keep me protected. Because I felt I had to be protected from, the energies and things like that. And Chi, my master guide, was like, Jamie, that's a very nice intent. However, if you keep asking the universe to keep you protected, it will bring you more circumstances to keep protected about. And I'm like, so what am I supposed to do if I'm not supposed to ask for protection? He's like, well, how about rather than ask for protection, you give gratitude for safety? I was like, click. That sounds like semantics, playing on words. And he's like, well, the way you approach the universe, it approaches you. And so many of us pray for things, but we don't give gratitude that we've received it. So when you just pray for something and you don't bring it back into your experience with gratitude, the universe doesn't register negative, so it's going to go, oh, Tessa, you see it someday. Okay, I love you. I'm going to keep it someday for you. You can be like, when's it going to happen? Well, when are you going to act as though I am, and I will be. And it's the cultivation of feeling that reality even when it's not there, the ability to cultivate that. Because I have people come to me who have heard The Secret, and that's a beautiful aspect. But they're like, I've heard The Secret, and I see it all around. And I'm like, and how's it working? And they're like, it's not working. Because they're seeing it as the illusionary aspect, but not holding the vibration of what it feels like to have that particular opportunity, experience, amount of money. Because we all do this on a day-to-day basis, act as though something's there even when it's not. Meaning, like our dreams and aspirations are nowhere in sight, nor is the money in your bank account, nor more than likely your vehicle, unless you're sitting in it. But I'm willing to bet with certainty your response to that is, well, of course I have that. Really? Because like anything else, it's not there. You've only trained yourself to go, well, of course. Because I will tell you, I'll guarantee you that people do rip vehicles off. And you go out going, where'd it go? I knew it was, you knew what? It wasn't even there, but you accepted it. You trained yourself to know how it feels to have it even when it's not there. That's the cultivation. If you can hold that vibrational pattern, you vibrate with that. And that's all I do is read people's vibes. You know, it's that subtle something that constitutes personal magnetism. When you first meet somebody, it's either, man, I just love your energy. I don't want to get to know you. They don't have to say a word. You know, you'll pick up on their feeling, their energy field, what they think about, because they can say one thing, but they're thinking and feeling another. It's like, oh, that's nice, but words are nothing but mere vibrational patterns in our ear nubs that we train ourselves to hear the patterns. So every time I hear the vibrational pattern, hello, on my ear nubs, I know it's an acknowledgement and connection. Well, guess what? In another language, that means the same thing, but it's a different vibrational tone. You'd be like, what does that mean? Well, this is what it means. So things only have the value that you place upon it. It's the old adage, a rose by any other name is still a rose. Right, it's not the thing itself, it's the label. What are you going to put? Is that great? Because, and it's a beautiful aspect, but some people believe you have to know God's name to be saved. And I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. But if it's in English, then I guess all the other languages are screwed, huh? I'm like, right. Well, didn't you say you have to know? What about all these other communications that have different vibrational patterns that connect with the same creator? No better or worse, just a different label. Doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. To me, the sun still shines on both. The rain falls equally on all. Just because you don't believe doesn't mean it's going to negate you in any way. It's like, does that work for you? Great. It's like the fish going, there's no ocean. What are you, crazy? It's so much us and within us and around us, we don't even notice it. Oh, what? This is nothing. This is thin, empty air. Yeah, sure it is. But
well,
what?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well,
yeah, I just want...
Go ahead.
I'm okay. Excited to talk. Go ahead, please.
Your turn. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
No, and it's just the ability to be accurate enough to go, yeah, but you don't know me and you're picking up all this information. So however you're doing that, that's great. That's a good thing. But I always share with people how I get the information, what's happening, so that it distills the booga with this. There is no scary unless you approach it that way. So, enough of the love and the lightheartedness and the compassion. Do not mistake love and compassion for weakness. I'm not weaker than that. I'm just as intense and crazy as anybody. I'm just using my abilities. And if I can be so strong, kind of like the lion's one of my totems, symbolically known as the king of beasts. Really? Well, if I'm like the lion, I'm going to be the king of beasts, then I will set the intent of love and compassion. I don't need to rip their throat out. Here, if I can set the vibration, that's what I like. You don't have to acknowledge it, but it's an opportunity to, if you choose, even connect with it. Otherwise, don't. That's perfect. Love you.
Yeah, for sure. I believe highly in putting love and light out there and, trying to help my fellow man. And, there's enough negativity out there that, if I can do my little part of putting some sort of positivity in that spin, then it makes me feel better, at least. And hopefully it makes others feel better. And then we had a question from Amanda, and she's wondering, what clair does Jamie think is the strongest or most accurate for mediumship and the most important chakra for it?
All of them. And all of them. I need to be as versatile as I can with communication and receiving information. Nobody's the same physically. They're not going to be the same metaphysically. So I work with all of the clairs. Not only that, we have an energy that I call skin vision. Anything that you touch, you will hold and register that vibrational pattern of wood or steel or whatever it is that you touch, and it will be in my hand going, they're showing me something that's this, and it feels like steel. No, it's not wood, it's steel. And they'll be like, that's exactly right. I'm like, okay, good. Notice I didn't say it's anything else. It's that kind of energy. I'm looking in an open, empty hand, going, where are you getting that from? I'm looking at it. It's interdimensional. It's in my mind's sight, my mind's eye. And, Amanda, excellent questions again. For me, I use every single chakra with the pure white light of all of the frequency colors, so I get the fullness, the best that I can with each information, question, circumstance, experience. So some can show me more in my mind side, so I'll go for it. More come from the clairsentient abilities, the ability to have that gut feeling. Good, they'll work with that. So because I work with all the clairs, no matter what ability they're using, I'm able to connect. So I needed to be as versatile as I could. So I worked on all of the different aspects, Amanda, all of the clairs, which I did with my mom. That's why it was like, no, I'm so thankful. And she's my best friend, and in that she graduated quite a while ago. So it was just a massive blessing that everyone was open in my family and I could cultivate this to the fullness. I'm like, thank you, universe. That's beautiful. I'm thankful to be me. And mean it. That's God. That's great to say. And I can say this is the first thing in my life that I can say I was literally born to do. Because, I'd hear other people going, I was born to do this. And I'm like, God, good for you. What was I born for? L for looking. And so, the very thing that I was looking on the outside was always within. Someone else used to say that a couple thousand years ago. I know stuff is within, but if you need to go to a location, light candles, do prayers to tune in, do it. It's whatever works for you.
Indeed. We have D.S. Miller, and he wants to know, do any psychics feel anything from light, not a light being just photons?
Yeah, light is information, love is creation. You're exactly right. It's all pure conscious energy. Everything vibrates. Nothing is solid. And each dimension holds its own vibratory rate. It's just as solid as this one, because a lot of people perceive, with solid energy, then you can't do anything when you get to heaven, and you don't eat, or you don't smoke, you don't do. Really? Do we do it here? Are you made not to unless it's a health thing? Okay, well, you're allowed to. It's only a vibrational experience. That's it. Was it going to negate you? Go, nope, there's nothing like that. You can't enjoy the very thing that you really enjoyed on Earth. Really? To me, I'm only aware of myself. But it is always love and compassion and acclamation. And just like we were talking about, Tess, earlier, it is what you perceive it to be, it will be. Because that's exactly how reality is, right? What you perceive it to be will be. What you think about is what I pick up, those vibrations. That's exactly right. Not only physical, but metaphysical. To that, God positioning system thing.
And then we had another question here. Do spirit guides bring spirit through for mediums or the spirit themselves?
No, they can. They can be facilitators. It depends on how, what parameters you want to work with your guides. You can work with the angels, ascended masters, extraterrestrials, interdimensionals, which I work with all of them because I need as much help as I can get, man. So within that, yeah, you set your parameters. For me, I train people to use their abilities as well. And the big key, ladies and gentlemen, is to set your parameters the way you want to do it. Because guess what? You are the only one who's going to be reading the energy. Why would you not receive it the exact way that you want to? The other side is very hungry. They want to connect. So if you don't see things in your mind, they're not going to keep showing you things in your mind, because then they're setting up for failure. They will always set up for success the best that they can. And they'll do a quick energy read, go, oh, you know what, DS, he's got his activated energy, he's got his heart chakra going, he's got that blue throat chakra thing going, and then his crown chakra is kind of lit up. So he's in tune. All right, you know what, I'm going to drop in, boink, and they'll drop in information. But I know when I'm thinking my own thoughts and when someone else is communicating with me. Because some people are like, how are you supposed to know? You'll feel the shift. But it's also training and discipline. The more you do it, the better you get. And you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't use it, whatever. You're not, to help yourself, good. But I wanted to help anyone I could because of my feeling of powerlessness. As I got older, I had to watch my whole family die from cancer, one by one, every 2 years. That tore my soul. And I was like, frick that. If I can't help my family, I'm going to help this entire planet and myself. And I'm literally getting to do that. I've done scientific studies and all that. Quantifiably proving, photon balls of light, the slit experiment, the double slit, all those kinds of things. Consciousness creates reality. For the most part. Everything's energy.
Okay, and Craig is asking, why do you push the narrative of always looking to the positive? Within linear life, to create these attachments with love will cause the equal and opposite effect. Why not preach embracing both?
Remember, everything's relative. We perceive good and bad as that which is good is in harmony with what we're wanting. That which is bad isn't. And that's a good question, Craig. But if you were able to hear me just a little bit earlier, I was saying that good and bad vibrations, information, both of them are information. I train myself to read both. There's not just one or the other, unless you perceive it to be. So it's that type to go, okay, if you make this decision as you perceive it, it may not be the most positive, or it'll be negative or destructive, and whatever you want to label it. And if you choose this one, this seems to have a better vibrational pattern. It matches your thoughts and what you've been wanting to create. So if you choose this, this is most likely what you're going to get. And I don't say, oh, it's going to happen. No, nothing's done did till it's done did. And so many people believe in destiny, which is nice. But to me, if there's destiny and, you're just going to do it, well, tell me you can't take your life now or now or now. Well, where'd that destiny go? It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing. Because I'll, say that, and they're like, "Nope, I'm destined to do it." I'm like, "Really? So if you got your head cut off and your arms and legs, you'll still do it?" Yep. I'm like, "Oh, well, that's impressive." And that's very real to them. So who am I to say I know better? Because I don't. I just know differently, and maybe from that different perspective, it might be some different information. That's a slightly different way of seeing it that they didn't see it before. Not better or worse, just different. So again, everything's relative. Good and bad are right alongside each other, Craig. If you train yourself to see one, then you only see one. It's whatever works for you. But you're going to learn what that vibration of negative feels like and what the positive feels like. Again, vibrations. I just read it. Good question.
And Kevin J. is asking, what do you think about homemade spirit boards?
You'd better know what you're doing, or you're opening a portal where you could get the crap slapped out of you. It only takes once to get messed up, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you do that, that's beautiful. But you better have your safety, whatever mantras, whatever you're going to do. Because I did that in the younger years, and to watch that planchette freaking slide on its own was like, holy crap. And it wasn't always the most positive energy. So after that, boop, I stopped doing it because I could feel those energies coming through. And then you open that portal in your house or wherever you're at. Now you've created an outer dimensional frequency. So now you're going to invite them into your home or wherever it is because you opened the portal. So as long as you're good with that, then perfect. But realize the potential ramifications to go, you better know that you're safe, not believe and hope, because they read energy. You're not going to fool them. Some people will do sage, and that's a beautiful thing as well. It's all, whatever works for you, it's all good. But sometimes people that are doing the sage are doing this, and they're out of here, and they're gone in the back of their mind, like, God, I hope it's working. And the other side's going, oh, give me another cigarette, because you don't believe that stuff. Great. And then they'll stay there. And sometimes that people will do sage again and again and again and again at the same place, at the same location. And I ask them, may I ask why you're doing that? And I said, well, because I need to do it every day. And she, my master guide, kind of pointed out to me that, Jamie, having a challenge like you're going to clean the, with the aspect there is like a stain that you have on the floor. Once you clean it up once, why do you have to keep doing it? If you clean it up effectively, you're not going to have the tangent or the extra stuff on the floor. So then it becomes, if you're going to keep doing it and there's nothing there to do, now you got OCD. Now you're like, holy crap, I got to do it again and again and again, which is great, because if that's the way you need to approach it, that's the way you'll approach it. I'm just lazy. I will look at them going, okay, if lighting these candles, going to this location, and doing these prayers is going to tune in, good. Now I know the steps. I know how it feels to tune in, so I don't necessarily have to go through the steps. I'm already tuned in just by tuning in, my thought, my awareness, making the connection.
And D.S. Miller in the chat room is asking, does Jamie still live in Sandusky? And if so, has he been to Cedar Point this year?
God, I haven't been back in like 45 years, man. But it was a great place, and I haven't been to Cedar Point, but I've heard it's great. They redid it, and it's just, yeah, exactly. It's just down the way. But, what's interesting is there's a lot of psychic mediums that tend to come from Ohio. I'm like, something's in the water, because a lot of us are doing this. And so, I have become a desert rat. I've lived out here in Phoenix for 51 years now. I moved out when I was very young. So, I can't do the cold. Man, that snow is too bitter. It's just, nope. I'll take the dry heat. It's 190 degrees. But that freezing energy to me is a very cold and lonely energy. I just, I tap into past lives and go, oop, nope, I was left on my own in the snow before, and there was nothing but the sound of the snow dropping as I died. Going, ooh, well, that kind of tainted me on that one. I'm like, no thanks. So a lot of us pull from our past life experiences and not even realizing why. And, they tend to think, well, life is a different experience and a different person. No, you're the same soul, the eternal soul, and you only live one life, an eternal life. But each life is a minute in the hour in the day, bump. So again, there's no shift. And in doing the scientific studies, I found that the neural soul ways, like a neural pathway, is always on. And you don't change, because some of the beings that we would bring through, they were somebody else in another lifetime. Yet they were coming through to us in their own conscious soul connection as we perceive it for this lifetime, whether Nikola Tesla or Albert Einstein or JC or whoever it is. It's a vibration, and it's really cool because connecting with these people, these beings, is like God, and they're taking the time to try to help humanity in any way doing the scientific studies. To have these brains, these intelligent, amazing, well-known people want to make a difference even from the other side, that was huge to me. I'm honored to work with any of these beings.
That is awesome. And Robin in the chat room is asking, what is a crystal surgeon?
I don't have a clue. I don't know. I'm not going to make stuff up. Like, I don't know. A surgeon, maybe. It depends on what surgeon. To me, if you're talking about surgeon medical, then you can work with the vibrational frequencies of whatever that crystal is going to be able to facilitate and harmonize. That would be, that kind of a medical aspect. Otherwise, I don't have a clue what it is. And, the good thing is I'm not going to make stuff up. Like I said, I wouldn't be on your show or have my own show or do TV and all that stuff if I threw those cheesies out there. I do the best that I can. I'm not always right, but I'm usually very good. And I always honor up to that. It's like, man, if you're always right, you're an ascended master. That's impressive. Well, we're all ascended masters, and we're all God. What does it take to realize you're the whole ocean? The ocean is the droplet is the ocean. Kind of thing.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with not knowing, and it's, good to be able to say so.
Well, yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. I do the best I can. But if you find out what that is, or if you know what it is, please share it with us. I'd love to learn, because I have an insatiable hunger for this stuff. People talking. I'm like, ooh, that brings up a question. What about this? Sometimes I drive people nuts going, all right, Jamie, stop asking that question. I'm like, well, man, I genuinely want to learn. What's your perspective? How you doing it? What is that? Because I'll take that, and if I like it, then I might take some of that and make it my own. I never do the competition thing. For me, I found if you're in a competition, you're always going to be pissed because there's always somebody better, somebody worse, and then you're feeding everyone else's energy and not yours. To me, how you stand out, just from my perspective, is just do you. That uniqueness of who you are, that soul print, is what will connect with people and the energy that you come from. Those who know me know I'm hyper and all playful and stuff, but I'm truly about helping others and myself, because I'm not a hypocrite. If I'm going to be helping others, I better be willing to help myself. And I found for my life that the more love, attention, energy, and compassion I give myself, it's no longer narcissism, it's self-realization. I can't give what I do not have. Most of us run on empty, going, I don't know what I'm feeling at all. Okay, well, that's perfect. So maybe little by little you get a glimpse of this, or, you can analyze that and maybe get a different perspective, whatever works for you. That's the beauty of it. There's only one way to God, as I always say. You know what that way is? Your way. Because I equate like all of us are on a basketball, okay, and we're all at the top of the ball, and that's our connection to God as we perceive it. As you go down that ball, right, the further away you think you're getting from God, the closer you're really getting, because when you circle around the ball, you end up getting up to the same place. That's the point. That's why you got 360 degrees. There is no one way to God. The only way is your way, what works. And if you don't believe in God, like I said, good. Does that work for you? Look, you're still alive. You're not smited. It's love. It's like the ocean going, that fish doesn't believe in me. Watch this. No, it allows it to be what it is. And, taking a life, right, isn't that, oh, well, wait a minute, it's the same action, but because you're human, that's a negative. And it certainly is. It certainly is. You don't take people's lives. But the perspective that one is different than the other, to me, isn't the case. It's whether it's fish or animals or humans or whatever, they have a soul. Because for me, I always question, I've been doing this professionally. This is all I do for the past 18 years, and I love it. But I bring through so many babies who didn't physically make it here, or animals that come through, and they're all talking like adult humans. And I'm like, gee, because he's always the go-to person. I'm like, gee, how is it that I'm always able to connect with these beings, these spirits, and this energy, whether it's an animal or a little baby who didn't make it to understand the vibrational pattern of our words and all that, able to talk me consciously in English? And he said this, because, some people believe that the animals don't have souls, and that's good as long as it works for you. But what he shared with me is, before you come into this planet, you're like the adult soul. You're the oversoul. And you're going to look at this planet going, hey, you know what? That looks like a fun place to enjoy. So how they do things on this particular planet is you need a vehicle to get around. Whether a human vehicle, an animal, an insect, it does not matter. It's only a vehicle that your soul is within. And again, you don't change that personality energy. You retain that. It would be like getting in 100 different cars. Oh, really? Did you change everything? You're a whole different person? Well, to a certain extent you are. But no matter what vehicle you jumped into, you're still the same driver. You're still the same occupant. Now it becomes, what vehicle do you want to choose? For that spiritual evolution, some people will choose somebody who may be physically handicapped, or somebody who's, really clear and clean and able to help others in any way. Whatever it is, that's just part of the soul growth. And I've learned it's all but an experience. And
on that note, we need to go to our first break.
Perfect. I'm rambling. Thank you for your patience, man.
No worries. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The first annual Caribou Paracon is happening September 28th to 30th in the 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Brought to you by the Canadian Society of Questers and Spaced Out Radio. Come listen to our featured speaker, Grant Cameron, along with Elizabeth Anglin, Paisley Town, Mike Moran, Eric Cooper, and more. It's a 3-day supernatural adventure at the Spruce Hills Resort and Spa. Tickets for the weekend are $150 Canadian. The Caribou Paracon, celebrating everything paranormal.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from your 4-Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us and bring your questions for us to investigate right here on Spaced Out Radio.
There's news, and there's the encounter. This is Spaced Out Radio News Director Everett Thiemer inviting you to check out The Encounter. Our half-hour news segment every Monday through Friday night is different compared to what you're used to. Our goal is to bring you the weird, strange, and interesting stories the mainstream tends to leave out, and stories that will make you scratch your head in disbelief. The Encounter can also be found at spacedoutradio.com and on our Facebook page, SOR The Encounter. Come give us a read.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Tonight's show and topic of discussion do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Spaced Out Radio, SOR Media, or its hosts. Listener discretion is advised. Here comes the second hour of Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa N Thomas. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio. And you can follow Tessa on Twitter at Tessa TNT. Now, back to the show.
Thanks so much for coming back with us, guys, and thanks so much for being on the show tonight, Jamie. It's been amazing so far.
My pleasure, definitely. I'm having a great time. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Well, we do have a couple more questions from the chat room, and then, there were some things that I wanted to touch on, and some things you wanted to as well.
Cool. And ladies and gentlemen, you got great questions, man. That's fantastic. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, they always come through with some really good stuff.
Excellent.
Amanda's wondering, is rose quartz a good crystal to give to those who are passing to the next plane?
Yes. Yep. Remember, everything's intent. Everything's about the intent. You can infuse anything with that. To me, the awareness is only what you give it. Meaning, I could hold a crystal and you may not know what it is, and I could give you a meaning, and you'd be like, oh, okay, is that what it means? Okay, great. No, that's not what it means. I just told you what it means. See, that's what I'm saying is we're used to that because we've been informed by it, and it's certainly perfect. But I just learned that you can infuse anything to vibrate with conscious energy information. That rose quartz is certainly, Amanda, a beautiful crystal to give them, and it does come from the love, and it does help harmonize their energy field. More love, compassion, and energy. So yeah, definitely. But I've also found that not only can I infuse that rose quartz with, even more love and empowerment, I can also infuse clarity of thought, effortless transition, excellent communication, anything, whatever the intent is. And I don't make anyone do anything. They don't go into a trance going, I will be a better communicator. No, man. You choose to connect with that information if you even want to. Just because I'm sending it, it's there, doesn't mean you have to acknowledge it. It's kind of like anything else, right? Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to acknowledge it. It's whatever works for you. Hey, and Tessa, can I ask, because I really like your energy and we just had a little bit of time to share, you were into an organization where you do search out locations to clear and clean houses, haunted places. What got you into it? How long have you been doing this for your life?
Well, the paranormal has always been a big part of my life since as far back as I can remember. In 2012, tragedy struck in our community, and, growing up with certain gifts, you feel, awkward or out of place, and, like you can only share with certain people. But when that happened, I felt like I needed to get out there and help. So it started as a small group. It was me, Kat, and Glow, and Rhonda, and Kat's daughter, Sadie. And that was our mission. And that's how we first started out Four Corners Paranormal Investigations. And, I lost my mom at a very young age. I was 5, almost 6, and she was the spiritual part of me. She was very gifted and spiritually inclined. And so when I found Kat, she was a mentor to me. She helped me to tap into certain things, taught me a lot about, crystals and stones and auras and, shielding and grounding and such, and also saging. I grew up in the Four Corners area, and so I was around a lot of native people, such as Utes and Dene, aka Navajo, and saging is a big thing around here. And so we'd try that, and not one thing works for every place. There's a different story wherever you go. And we first started out trying to help with this case, and investigating other places like the Railroad Museum and such. And but now we have people calling us, and we're totally booked up. And our crew, most of them have Muggle jobs, so mostly they're available on the weekend. But that is our goal, is to help others on this side and the next. And we don't charge for it. I feel like I'd be taking advantage, and because there's not a lot of help out there for things like this, and there are people out there that do prey upon it and take advantage. But that's how I got into it. Experience and just wanting to absorb all that knowledge.
And so as these people come to you, and when you're doing a paranormal investigation, kind of like, your listeners asked me, what abilities, what clairs do you use when you're doing reads for a certain location or, a place or a being, entity?
I like to listen to my intuition, my gut instinct. Basically it's never let me down. So I've learned over the years to listen to that. And as I've been doing this, I've collected different tools and such, to get different variations, or, even back that up. Is this really what's coming through or not? And a lot of times, like we just recently, I believe it was last year or the year before, brought a medium on board, and I was actually picking up on a lot of stuff before she'd even say anything. And so that kind of reiterated on, my gift. And it's easy for me to help others, but when it comes to myself, like, it's hard to trust myself. Am I wanting it to be this way? So this is what I'm telling myself. So it's that's been the difficult part for me as far as tapping in. But I'm still learning. I know I'm intuitive, empathic, apathic. There's so many things that I'm still learning about myself. And like you were saying earlier about labels, I don't really like putting a label upon myself. I just want to help because, I feel like people are going to expect more from me than I can always provide, Things don't always come through on a schedule. You can't plan these things. And if something wants to communicate, it will. If not, maybe next time.
Well, and that's the big thing. And for you doing that to try to help others is beautiful because some people don't know where to turn to. Now, for me, 90% of the information is my mind sight, my mind's eye. 10% I physically see. I'd like to know if there's anything that you've seen that's amazing as a physical. For me, one of the things that I've seen that really sticks out of my mind is a number of years ago I was with a friend and it was Christmas time and she had a beautiful fresh tree, not a fake one, but a fresh one. Mm-hmm. And we're standing there in the living room and we can see this beautiful tree and I was looking at my friend and she's like, "Look at the tree." So I turned around, and one of the branches literally was bent down all the way down, and boing, 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 boing. It wasn't just like, oh, it just barely moved. No, it literally bent and went up. There was nobody else physically there. There was a little dog. I don't think the dog did it, or I would have seen it there. That was huge, man. Once you see that stuff physically, and there's nobody physically touching it, that can be a little freaky-deaky. Have you had something like that happen?
I've seen a lot of things. I've seen, full body apparitions. I've seen orbs with the naked eye, not just in pictures, and, little people, like gnome-like people, Kentucky goblins. I used to always refer to them as kobolds because that's, the name that somebody gave to me when I described it. But I most recently learned those are actually Kentucky goblins or something like that. But more recently, the most amazing thing I ever saw was my mentor. She passed from cancer, and it was pretty fast and furious. And my daughter and I were actually there when she passed. And so that night, my daughter comes into the room to sleep with us, which I didn't ask any questions. I just understood, that was a pretty hard and intense experience for an adolescent to witness. And
definitely.
So I go back to sleep, and then I wake up, but before I even open my eyes, I can see this light coming through my eyelids. And so I sit up and I open my eyes, and at the side of my bed is Kat, and she's wearing this beautiful white dress, and her hair is long and flowing again, and she's got a braid along the right side of it, and she's got this smile upon her face, and this aura, like I've never seen an aura like this before. It reminded me of the pictures on like Catholic candles when you see the aura on there, but it was just magnificent and bright, and it had, dark blue and a somewhat light blue, kind of turquoise-ish, and then white and silver glinting throughout. And I laid back down and went back to sleep because I knew she wasn't there for me. She was checking on my daughter to make sure that she was okay. But I do have to say that was the most amazing apparition I had ever seen, and it makes me smile all the time when I think about it.
And see, as soon as you're thinking about it, you're right there, and that emotional state rises right up. It's always been there, but you can bring it up to the surface just by focusing on it. And that's a big thing. Don't you find it interesting that as soon as they get out of the physical body, a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times when loved ones come back and, maybe they had more years of wisdom, and they'll be like, they came back youthful, and they came back with different hair and different body, or, whatever the case is. And I'm like, well, right, you can create anything you want because it's pure energy state state always. You're just able to look more youthful. Does that feel good for you? Boop, do it. There you go. Because it's just energy vibration. So when you physically manifest, at least to my awareness, you'll radiate with those youthful energies. And anyone who sees you is like, God, they looked so much younger and they were different and they had great energy. It's like, perfect. But that's the point, is we all have that connection because we're all souls. It's just we're in this physical vehicle, so because this is a slower vibrational pattern, we tend to not change too much. It tends to be gradual. But, within this, all those vibrations are what we work with. And I learned that, the body-mind connection, I see myself in my mind and feel it more youthful, energized, in good shape physically, and able to do this. Now, within that, I can eat anything I want, all that kind of stuff, but I still look fairly youthful. I don't look a day over 52, and I'm 53. But not only that, every 7 years we have 100 trillion brand new cells. Well, why wouldn't we have perfect health if they're all brand new cells? Because the body-mind connection is you're still perceiving the markings, the scars, whatever it is, so you create the same vibrational pattern. And then there's a thing called laminin, Laminin, which Chi kind of represents as the God cell. And that apparently is what the cellular structure that helps organize the cells and where to go. Because don't you find it interesting, if nothing's solid and our body's not solid either, then why does the blood not pour out through our pores if it's not solid? Well, because you have that energy frequency which kind of keeps everything intact. But you can change that vibrational pattern just by your thoughts. I will tell you, shape-shifting is very real. And you only sound like a nut job till it's validated. Well, guess what? Shape-shifting, an animal, a bird, whatever, isn't that an animal? Oh, wait a minute. That human shape-shifted into that. Oh, now we see it's only a vehicle to house the soul. That's it. You're still a consciousness. That's just, it's something to think about. No big thing. But I was like, oh, that makes sense, because if they're in an animal body and they're still conscious, well, there are animals on the planet, and they're, well, right. So Chi was like, well, there you go. Just for my awareness. I'm sure it's not, but, just how I perceive it.
Yeah, and, I've seen different individuals come through in different ways, and I do believe it's all in a part of your awareness and your spirituality. Like, she was a very spiritual person. She had it down, and she was a single woman, but she was like the happiest person that I'd ever known, and she just had that spiritual quality, and a lot of them don't come back that soon. Like, she was there night one, checking in on everyone, and so it was pretty amazing. There was hard feelings from other people that I had seen that, her best friend really does not like me anymore. But I'm like, I thought that would be something that you would like to hear, that was a positive experience, and it was just beautiful. But, some do come in as fogs or orbs or whatnot, and a lot of times I think it's easier for them to come through in the dream world to communicate. That's basically the easiest way, I believe, for them to come through if you aren't gifted and they want to come to you and communicate. It's pretty interesting how it works.
Well, yeah, and, that brings up an interesting aspect to me. During some of the scientific studies we were doing, a few of us mediums were, set side by side in the same room, and we had a target, a being who we needed to see if we could pick up who it was. Well, each of the mediums, each of us got who it was, but each of us saw the very same person, the very same soul print in a different way. One saw this person in different clothes. Another one saw them in a wheelchair. I saw them in one thing. And I was like, Chi, how is it that we're looking at one person, yet each of us is seeing a different physical vehicle, a body, a circumstance? And he said, well, it's kind of like this, Jamie. You know those holographic pictures that you have, that if you look at one angle, it's a dolphin, another angle, it's a giraffe, and another one, it's an elephant? Yeah, well, that's how it is. It's a neural soul way, like a neural pathway through the integration of information for the brain, neural soul way for the information and connection of the soul, the energy, the frequency. And I was like, God, that makes sense. Because otherwise, there it is. Each of us are seeing him differently, but the same soul. So that made sense when it was the holographic picture. And oh yeah, guess what? This is a holographic universe. What is known in all places may be known in one, and what is known in one may be known in all. You know, because I asked, well, how is that possible? Because if you really think there's only one Jesus, what happens when more than one person on this planet calls on him? He's not going to go, oh, got a gunshot, got to go. Yeah, right. He's right there with all of us. And so I asked Chi, I'm like, Chi, how is that quantum physics thing, that thing I just told you, possible? And he said, well, it's kind of like this, Jimmy. Remember like the IP address and the SP address? Well, I have my own radio show as well, and I'm in 138 countries, and I'm sitting in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, through the internet web, like the universal web, each and every one of you listeners is right here, right now with me, like I am with each and one of you. So we see there is no distance. Now, there is no time as well, because if I get somebody who calls in Australia, they're about 17 hours ahead, or if they call in for the Hawaiian Islands, they're a couple of hours behind. But when we're talking through the net, when is it? Now, there is only the eternal moment. And I was like, oh, that makes sense, because otherwise I was like, how is Jesus doing that? How is he going to be able to go to multiple people and be just as effective? And so that made sense to me. It was like, okay, cool, because I want to understand same old information, same old ancient information, just, you know, an updated perspective kind of thing. Not better or worse, just different.
Yeah, and I love hearing different perspectives, you know. I love building on my open-mindedness and just, you know, learning different things. But Kat in the chat room was wondering, why does the universe keep trying to kill her every few years?
Well, because of the very thing that you just said. You're now on autopilot. Wait a minute, you're psychic, right? Aren't you saying it before it happens? You're now creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Why does it keep happening every 2 years? Wow, and you got the same time every 2 years. You are good. Well, change your thought pattern and it won't try to kill you. And guess what? It never does. You magnetize circumstances and experiences that, as you know, we perceive it, might be bad and can take our physical life. But that's what I found. Remember that I thought I was coming from the productive of keep me protected. So it kept bringing me more crap to keep protected about. Mm-hmm. And so once I changed that, my experience changed. I'm invisible to any lower negative energies. I know I'm safe. I don't hope and believe, because if you don't know you're safe and you're doing this work, you'll be so inaccurate because you'll be firm. Oh, I hope I'm safe. I hope there's no one coming through. I hope. No, man. Confidence, not cockiness. Confidence when you can back it. Cockiness when you can't. So I know anybody who comes through is only in a productive energy. Even people who commit suicide. Now, if I can just, you know, just my 2 cents on suicide, because I see it with thousands and thousands of people who come through. Now, the act of taking your own life can be a very challenging thing, and it leaves us devastated as we are physically here. But the act of taking your own life is only an action to get you to the other side. It's an experience. Because if taking your own life is always a bad thing, and that means that you're a bad person and you need to go to a bad place, well then, you know, I guess the person who jumps on that grenade to save the entire platoon is a bad person, huh? They need to go to someplace bad. Well, exactly. The exact same action, taking your own life consciously, yet look at the different values we place upon it. One is good, one is bad as we perceive it. One isn't in harmony with what we're wanting, so it's bad. One is, so it's good. Kind of thing. So I've found, just my own experience, there is no judgment in any way on the universe's part. You know, I've done it my whole life, but I haven't had to die to have my spiritual experiences. I've merged with the oneness. Man, I'm always like one big eyeball. I'm pure consciousness. I never have a body, nothing. I'm just aware. And there's one time I could see 360 all around me. I'm like, I don't know how the frick that's possible, but I could focus my thought and I could tap right into a planet or anything. But everywhere, I was everywhere. And the more as I was continuing to expand, you know, my awareness, I didn't lose myself. I found more of myself. You know, because here on this planet, people are like, you spread yourself too thin, you're going to become ineffective. It's the complete opposite in the spiritual nature. The more I was expanding, the more I found myself. The more I realized, oh, I am the whole ocean. Oh, The ocean is everything. Yeah, everything's within it. That's why it's all allowed to be. Or something like that.
Nice. I like it.
Good. Very cool.
Well, D.S. Miller is asking, giving of a rose crystal, is it borrowed from Egyptian traditions of death and such?
I really don't have a clue on that one. I'm not sure. But if you know, please share it. That would be great. There are many other things. I have extremely strong connections to Egypt. But in my awareness, there was crystal aspects there. But I didn't really know exactly, everything that's going on. So, and again, they all have their natural qualities, but you can also infuse other vibrational thought patterns. Remember, everything is thought, so you'll connect with that, and you can infuse it in an animate object, not an inanimate. That's it. That was good.
Okay. So, growing up with this gift, was it difficult during your childhood years in school? Did you get any sort of backlash from it, or teasing, or how did you deal with that?
No, I was worried about how I was going to fit in, but the more I accepted myself, the more others accepted me. And I wasn't going around to all the kids at school going, "Hey, let me tell you a future." No, I grew into that because, you like me, you're going to look like a nut job like that, man. No, you're only crazy until it's proven. Then it's, I guess you're not that crazy. And it's only science fiction until it's science fact. So for me, and learning from my mom, I learned to just be myself, and if there's a circumstance where somebody might need a different perspective or some kind of a validation, I would gently and lightly say it if it was one of the kids. Otherwise, if it was an adult, like I shared, "Hi, I know and don't know you, but can I say something to you?" And they're like, "Holy crap, how do you know that?" And I'm like, "Well, like I said, we all have guides and I feel stuff, so just had to be a validation." They're like, "God, thank you." I'm like, "Oh, cool, see ya." And then walk off. So it took a lot of guts to do that, but from a young age and being activated, and my mom always using her abilities beautifully, I had a lot of comfort. I knew how to blend into society. There is that fine line between using your abilities and the nut house. Don't kid yourself. There are some sane people in the insane asylum. They just don't know what they're doing. I'm hearing voices. Well, guess what? I hear voices all day long, and people seek. Well, right. They seek me out for it. They don't fear me. It's what energy vibration do you come from? They will feel that energy. Those, who sit in front of you, that kind of thing. So it's like, that's why I don't make anything up. And ladies and gentlemen, I apologize if I don't have all the answers, but, I do the best I can. And I'll always be straightforward to go, "I don't have a clue. I don't know, but please enlighten me." I'm always open for that. I love to learn. I'm not stupid.
So have you been, ghost hunting or to a haunted location and done energy readings?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we were picking up another project that we did in a ghost town, which is really, really cool. And, I also do energy clearing, but for me, I'm lazy. I had a next door neighbor, and in his house, he's got a beautiful home. And in his house, he had a 2-story. And for quite a while, his dogs would stare at the top of the stairs and bark crazy, and they would not go upstairs at all. And, he came to me going, because he knew what I did. He's like, "Jamie, do you, work with energy in that way? Do you do any house clearings?" And, I said, "Well, yeah, sure I do." And so for me, I because I know everything's energy and it's all the matrix and connected, I told him, well, let me do an energy clearing and then, and explain to him what I was going to do so that he could know if there's a difference. He said, "Well, okay, yeah, work your magic because, they ain't going anywhere, so I'd love to see that." I'm like, "Well, yeah, let's see." So I was in my house, and because it's a long distance, you don't have to be there physically, kind of like healing and stuff, at least to me. I put an energy vibration of a pure white light right in the center of that house. God, love, communication, realization, safety, harmony, whatever else you want to put into it. And from that center of the house, I let it expand out, pushing any lower negatives out of the house completely, surrounding the entire house around with a white bubble of light. And so underneath everything. And so I saw him, a couple of days later, and I asked, "Hey, so How's everything going? He's like, you know what? That very night, they came upstairs and they've been up ever since. I'm like, oh, perfect. Well, there you go. It's great. So, that's why for me, if whatever works for you is perfect. But I found that, I don't have to be there and it's all intent, because if we're doing, the sage or a cross or rosary beads or whatever it is, we have put our faith, for the most part, in that object to be the facilitator of clearing the energy or, whatever it is. At least I perceive that way. So within it, once I learned that we're the matrix and, what's known in one place is known in all, I got validation that this guy's going, that's freaking cool, man, because I didn't know you could really do that. And I'm like, well, there you go. So I could use a Superman doll and be just as effective as any of those other beautiful tools. That's the point is, is that how you do it to tune in? Good. I'm now tuned in because those steps get you there. 1 + 1 is 2. Perfect. I'm already at the double. Just because it's already there.
Yeah. So what psychic senses do you use when you do readings?
All of them. As I was sharing, that nobody's the same physically, they're not going to be the same metaphysically. Some can show me pictures, so I'll receive pictures. Some can make me feel information, so I'll feel the information. Some can talk, so I'll get the clairaudient, I'll hear the information. But I've also learned what my physical and metaphysical vibration is like. So I know what my thought process is, and when somebody's tuning in to connect with me. Because I'm like, how can I be of service? What's going on? And so I've learned, because otherwise a lot of people think they're making stuff up and wishful thinking. And, in that capacity, they'll also show me a number of things that are in my own life experience because I've been through them, so I can talk about it. The average person will be shown their own life experience going, I'm just making crap up because all I'm doing is seeing my own life. Well, what better way to talk about information that you directly experienced it? Mm-hmm. Sometimes they just need to share that information. You don't know better or worse, but maybe that particular experience and how you receive that information, they'll be like, God, you know what? I felt things like that too. So what do you call that thing, that clairsentient thing, that gut feeling? Yep, there you go. Trust it. Because you, just like you were saying, Tessa, is you need an outcome. You could feel all you want, but if you don't get an outcome of what you're feeling, what are you feeling? You have nothing to put it to as an end result of, every time something feels like that, it's usually playing out like that. When it feels like this, it's like this. Like I said, then you go on a law of averages, you went psychic, because every time it's playing like that, it's going to usually play out like that. When it's like this, it'll play out like this. Mm-hmm. Kind of that perpetuated problem, the challenge, especially, and it's not easy because it's a very real pattern in a way to go, why is it every 2 years they're trying to kill me? Again, because you're opening that door and going, hey, why don't you come in every 2 years and try to kill me? Because I'm used to it now. Oh, really? Oh, bummer. So as long as you're okay with that, you'll keep inviting it in. Once you stop asking that and start, whatever you would like to do, start putting any safety, prayers, mantras, whatever works for you, then you'll be a little bit more effective and you won't have it every 2 years, and you won't have to have it at all anymore if you choose to. For me, I'm 53, but I've never, ever had to fight. I've never been in a once in second grade, I hit the kid in the face. And funny, but I was like, oh, shoot, he was crying and he was done. I was like, are we done? Yep. Okay, good. Have a nice day. And that was it. I just don't need to fight. So guess what? I don't attract things to fight. For me, it works. Those who, again, talk about lack, live it. Talk about abundance, you live it. So if we keep talking about every 2 years, they're going to come and get me. Well, every 2 years, they're going to come and get you, because now you're on that perpetuated pattern. So now you're expecting it, so now you'll get it more often than you might not want it. And again, most of us come from the right intent, but we end up approaching the problem more so than the solution. Meaning, on average, most of us want people who love us in our lives, and we want abundance in our lives. But the average person approaches those two things like this when they ask the universe. I know what I don't want. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be alone. And even though you have the right intent of people there and money, you're sending out a signal of broke, alone, because that's what your thought pattern is. And because the universe doesn't register negatives, like, you see yourself broken alone. I love you. You're going to get more of it because that's what you're thinking. You must want it if you're thinking about it. If you're planting those seeds in the garden, you must want to plant them or you wouldn't be planting them. Yeah, that's right. I'm not going to plant orange seeds if I'm looking for tomatoes. Oh, so I see that the vibrational pattern of that holds the integrity. That seed of the oak tree is going to grow into the oak tree. It doesn't become an oak tree and then it turns into an orange tree or a lemon tree or whatever. It holds the integrity of each of those. Just like the channels of connection for me that I learned. And that is, like I said, heaven is on one channel, ascended masters another, but in addition, even though they're all separate channels, you can unify channels to create a conference call, so to speak. Because I had an experience with the scientific studies that I was doing, another medium and I were channeling this information, and I heard in my mind sight the very words and the very exact inflections that the medium said a couple of seconds before she said it. I'm like, holy crap, that was exactly in the exact person, everything. So I found that, kind of like the neural soulway thing, I found that you can channel into the same channel and everybody can tune into it. And like I said, just because you're not tuning in doesn't mean it's not playing. Each one of us are like the radio tuner. If you need to take that tuner to a location, light candles, do prayers to tune in, then perfect. It's whatever works for you. That's the key to success. Make it your own. I'm always aware of other people's dynamics, and hey, you know what? I like to learn. I like that. I'm going to try it. But I never compare myself, because otherwise, like I said, I'd be frustrated all the time. But, for me, if I'm on TV and radio and all that, and I've been doing it 18 years professionally, and this is all I do, maybe, just maybe there's something to what I'm sharing. That's why I'm like, here's everything I do. You don't have to listen, but here's what you do. It'll get you to my point and way beyond it, I'm sure. There you go. Love you. You don't have to accept it, but I'm willing to share. I want to empower people. Like I said, nobody needs to be fixed or saved, just shown the power within. And if they choose to use it, they can empower themselves and others. Just people need to know it's possible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really important to have that faith in yourself and believe in yourself.
Yes, ma'am. And it's the knowingness. Again, for me, I found that you'd better know your truth the best that you can, because if you believe in it, you're really saying, man, I hope it's real because I don't have a clue. Oh, crap. Yep. I couldn't be distracted by any loopholes or, things that I missed. And so I have Chi, again, my master guide, on autopilot going, Chi, you got my back, right? Front and side and every way? Good. If I'm not catching something and you are, please, you have the permission, you have my permission to take over and help, reorganize or orchestrate that circumstance or experience. And a while later, I had that very thing of the divine intervention. If I could share it with you.
Please do.
Okay. Many years ago, I was married to a lovely lady, and I have 2 boys. And one day we were driving, and my wife had to go to the doctor and pick up some x-rays and other things. I said, okay, well, you go to the doctor because there was going to be a wait time. And I said, I'll just drive around in the parking lot. And there was, a couple of hundred cars and probably about 50 to 100 buildings with, all the different offices and things. And so we're just cruising around, about 5 miles an hour. And I'm going through the different areas there. And I start to turn around a corner, and all of a sudden, it's like I'm coming out of a dream, and I'm stuck on something, and I'm like, vroom, vroom, vroom. What the? And my youngest son was in the front seat going, Dad, you hit a truck. I'm like, what? What? Are you crazy? It was like I blacked out. And so I'm like, oh, God, so what? I can't drive anymore because there's no way I'm going to jeopardize anyone else's life or my family's because I black out? Are you freaking kidding me? And I was frustrated. I'm like, Chi, why did this happen? I don't understand. He's like, well, Jamie, like you have other people's backs, and, I have yours. And we did that to help you out. And I'm like, how the heck is hitting another vehicle helping me out? And he said, well, Jamie, your energy was lining up because they could see the potential alignment. That's called psychic. But he said, as you were driving around, had you stay on the same time frame of what you were doing, you'd be driving around, and, a little bit later you'd pick up your wife, and then you'd have the whole family. You'd be driving down the street, and you'd have a green light, and you'd be going across, and this red truck would come through and slam you. it would have killed my whole family. So here's the thing, as I was on that big dually, it was a brand new truck, man, freaking dually, brand new, and I hit it, and I got out, and I looked at the license plate on that truck, and you know what it said? Jamie, Jamie. I'm like, holy crap. That specific, a red truck, which she said it was going to be a red truck, not the one that was parked, but it would then whatever vehicle that was red. So it had to be so out of the ordinary, so crazy validating that I knew it was real. Really, out of hundreds of cars, I'm going to run into the only truck, and a red one that has my specific name on it. I'll guarantee you, folks, nobody has the exact same license plate, or you're going to have, pay major dollars or a fine because you have a unique plate and all that kind of stuff, kind of like a serial number. So that ability to go, okay, so now I see how running me into this vehicle saved me from our whole family dying from another vehicle. And he's like, well, you gave me permission, so I have your back. So there you go. And you won't have a blackout anymore. I was like, good God, thank you, because otherwise I'd be riding my bike or taking the bus. There was no way I'm going to chance blacking out. Crazy, man. But, again, he's very insightful and very informative to me and very patient with my, what? I got a lot of questions. Can you help me? Yeah, of course. There you go.
Why not?
Yeah, but to save my life and my family's life by doing that, he saw the potential alignment. I didn't. So it's not like I always get insight. People are like, well, if you get it for everyone else, you should know my name. You should know everything about everything. I'm like, yeah, good luck. That's an ascended bastard. Guess what?
Yeah.
I do the best. That's all I can do. But I'm always honest and, honored and humbled because I do what everybody can do. But I like to share my experiences so that maybe it gives them a different perspective, some insight, or some validation about an experience that they had in their own life that they're like, holy cow, that's why that might have happened, because I thought it was a bad thing, and it actually could have saved my life. Whoa. So it's not so bad. So I've placed a new value on the old value. Same experience, just a new value. Oh, okay, I'm okay with it. Remember that kind of suicide? What's the value? Same action, different perspective.
So you keep referring to Chi as your guide.
Mm-hmm.
When did you first meet your guides, and do you actually have more than one?
Oh, yes. I need all the help I can get. I have over 100 guides, extraterrestrials, angels, interdimensional me's. There are other yous. This is not the only you that exists. Just to my awareness, folks, I'm sure we're the only one. We're not. I've seen another me physically, like you're looking at anybody else physically on this planet. It was freaking freaky cool, man. It was wintertime, and I was riding a bike, and I had come into my apartment, and I had sweats on because it was wintertime, so I had sweats and all that stuff on. And as I was walking into my apartment, I was walking through, by the door we had the living room, and then straight over beside that was our little kitchen, and then next to that was the dining room, and then the hallway for the rooms. And as I got to the corner right where the dining room started, and I looked into the kitchen, again, it always seems to be a warmth for me. It's always just warm. But I had this wash over me, and physically standing in the kitchen is another me, identical looking to me, but only had blue shorts on, and he was standing there looking at me drawing a dish. Really? You freaking kidding me? And during that experience, I looking at that other me, my view, my eyesight went into the other me, and I was looking at myself from the other me, and then boop, came back to my own connection, and it was gone. I'm like, holy cow, that's freaking crazy cool. But again, you're only a nut job till it's validated. So, I always share with people, if I can do what I do, maybe there's something I'm telling you, because you're only crazy till it's validated. And that's the thing is, I can only hold my truth, but everyone's truth is real to them. Nobody's the same physically, but each just as real and just as valid. And so, my master guide Chi, he orchestrates all the other guides, and each guide has their own expertise, meaning if you have a pool problem, you're not going to call an air conditioning person, you're going to call a person who works with pools. Boop. So that's why I have a lot of guides, is because I need the versatility of integration of that information. And so I consciously connected with chi about 20 years ago. And I was working at Marriott Camelback Inn. It's Lincoln. It's a really nice resort, and lots of beautiful $1 million homes around it and all that kind of stuff. And I was on break from the because I worked in the banquet area and I was a supervisor organizing functions and stuff. And so I was in between shifts and I did a meditation, and I decided, I want to meet my master guides. Let's see what happens. So I took myself to a spiritual room. I created my spiritual room. I had my connection. And as I sat there in my mind's eye, I sat in one chair, and across from me was another empty chair. My visual was to have whoever my master guide is come to me and put themselves in the other chair. Now, I didn't have any preconceived notions, meaning I didn't say, oh, it's going to be a human, or it's going to be an ET, or it's a ball of light. Be open for anything that comes to you. So for me, I asked, hey, Master Guide, if you're here, I would love to talk with you. I'd love to get connected because I don't feel like I'm familiar. I don't consciously know who you are. And so as I did the invitation, all of a sudden chi comes from the right side of me walking in. And as he walks in, he has a human body. He's got a white robe on. He had human hands and human feet, but his head was a rainbow of light. He didn't have a freaking physical head. It was pure energy. I'm like, what the? How was that possible? And so he sat down and began to talk with me. And I said, chi, I didn't say chi back then. I said, Master Guide, what's your name? And he said, well, my name is Chi. And I'm like, oh, Chi, that's cute. Life force energy. Please prove it to me. Please show me an example of that name, Chi, in my physical day-to-day living, because I haven't seen that name in a while. So however you get it to me, because I was completely open, whether it was words from another person, on a billboard, on a license plate, I was open. So after I did that and, he talked to me and gave me a lot of insight, I went back to the hotel and I was organizing the banquet area bar. And we had these BEOs, banquet event orders. And we had this Italian group in. And it was a beautiful name, but there was a bunch of letters. And I'm like, God, I don't know how to pronounce this. And so one of the other bartenders steps up and he's like, hey, let's play Hooked on Phonics. So he covers up all of the letters except for the first three. CHI. I was like, you got it, frickin' A. From that moment on, even though it was subtle, I knew it was real. Right 20 minutes later, he did that for me. Now, sometimes people will have guides or angels or whoever you want to work with, and they'll be like, well, they don't ever give me my name. They don't give me a name of who they are. And my response is, well, then give them a name. Don't we do that for children? Don't we do that for beautiful pets? Well, why would you not think that they might want you to have your own comfort of a label? What do you want to call me? Oh, Joe Schmo? Good, there you go. Right? Because now you're comfortable. It's what you perceive it to be. I was just strong enough to go, what's your name? Because whatever you want to call yourself, I'm open. And thankfully, he gave me his name immediately because he knew apparently that I was going to do this work professionally. I didn't have a clue. Man, I was doing, hospitality for 17 years, and I was very good at it, but I just didn't see myself doing this at 50, man. I'm like, I don't know what the frig I'm going to do, but it's not this. And so as I grew into that, within a couple of years of me solidly knowing who my guide was, I made the transition from hospitality into the spirituality full time. I wasn't stupid. I wasn't jumping ship to go, oh, that's it, I feel lucky to do it. No, I was practical, meaning for 6 months, because I asked Chi, I'm like, how am I supposed to get people to know how I'm doing this and get out there when I've been doing this for free my whole life? I don't have any connection. I don't know where to find these people. And his response was, well, Jimmy, why don't you go join a bookstore? And we're like, oh, click. They already have established clientele. They'll take the orders. They'll do the appointments. They'll take care of the financials, all of that. So I did both. I did psychic readings in the afternoons, in the daytime at a spiritual store. And that was the first and only store I ever worked at. The rest was on my own, thankfully. And then at nighttime, I was doing the banquets and running all those. Now, I wasn't stupid because I needed to pay the bills. I got children, house, cars, all that kind of stuff. And so I said, gee, if I'm supposed to be doing this, we've got to bring me the people. And so after 6 months of working both, at my, daytime, the psychic, spiritual stuff, I was booked solid. So much so that, the owner loved it, and she gave me like a couple of minutes in between. So crazy. But 6 months, I was ready. Boom. I dropped off. I stopped because it was scary, but I did it. I went from, Marriott to Four Seasons and finished off at Four Seasons, and boom, I was on. From that moment on, I was hooked. I'm like, God, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you, Chief, for helping me out, because I didn't know what I was going to do until this. And now, like I said, this is the first thing I can say I was born to do, and I'm doing it. Like I say, it's not only what I do, this is the essence of who I am. I just have passion. You'll know it, as you know, Tessa, that you'll feel when somebody means what they're saying. You'll know if they have that passion, or they're just talking with the mind, and they love you. It's like, oh, that's nice, but that feels hollow. I don't feel like you're connecting. You'll feel somebody's connecting. That's why there's, again, you better know what you're doing as people sit before you, because if you throw those cheesy generalities, they're not going to open up. Thankfully, they make me very accurate because they're focused on their thoughts, and I just pick up on it. But in doing that with confidence, they know, yeah, okay, you're real and you could do this. So now they get comfortable because they've also seen that I don't have any judgment, man. I accept everyone as they are. Who am I? I'm no better, no worse. And I've done most of that in other things in other lifetimes. And so they'll open up going, Jamie, I've never said this to anyone. I'm like, well, great. You want to share? Great. And so they'll share it with me, and they feel such a release. They feel so empowered and not disempowered. They're like, God, somebody who's listening, I could share that because I've been choking off and keeping it within my whole life. Now I get to express it. I feel free. I'm like, well, perfect, because you did it. And then they get back into their life, and they start to live life more than survive it, because a lot of us survive life, and that will wear you down and tire you out. I was like, nope, I'm ready to live life, not survive it.
For sure, it's better that way. I mean, I feel like life is a gift, and it should be treated as such. And, a lot of people don't get the same opportunity as us. And I've experienced that as well. Like, people I don't even know, I don't even know you from Steve or whoever will come up and, we'll have conversation. And then they will tell me this, deep, dark secret or something that's been bothering them. And it's pretty interesting. And I'm glad I can be there for them for that.
Well, and not only that, it becomes so healing for them. I'm very honored. A lot of people will say when they have those experiences, they'll be like, Jamie, what's crazy is an hour with you in a session is like 3 years of therapy. I'm like, oh, great. Look at how efficient you are.
Yeah.
But they mean it. They're genuine, going, God, I've done this for years, and just in this 1 hour, the way that we connected and you got me to see differently, not better or worse, because I always say I'm always humbled, man. But if we can do that and you have the information enough to way that they would understand it the best that they can, now it's empowering. Now they start living life, and that vibration of positive energy permeates to other people. And then, a lot of people, they'll come back to me and they'll be like, everyone was making a comment like, wow, what happened? You're all smiley and you got a nice energy. And, they would answer it however they were. But to get the outside physical, manifestation of somebody else saying that to them, it wasn't just them, oh, I feel it, I'm all happy, okay, this is great. It's like, no, other people picked up that energy and felt the change and saw the change as well. So it's not just making it up and wishful thinking. Somebody else acknowledged it outside of your perspective as we perceive it.
So you were talking about different scientific experiences that, or experiments that you and your friend were doing. What exactly were those?
Well, I can't get into too deeply to all of the stuff that we were doing for the studies, but I worked with, if you want to do your homework, ladies and gentlemen, check out Gary and Rhonda Schwartz from the University of Arizona. It's in Tucson, Arizona. Okay, so what was really great is I was doing platform, and when I was first starting this, because I heard that, Gary Schwartz worked with John Edward and Alison Dubois, and I said to myself, if I ever have him ask me to do mediumship and to be on his team, God, that would be such a feather in the cap. But, I held everyone else to high regard. John Edward and Allison, and look at the TV shows they got and all that. And I said, man, that would be a nice, at least add-on for me. And so it took me about 15 years, but I was at a presentation and I was doing, gallery readings for people. And because I had no idea who Gary was, I just knew that the other people worked with a scientist called that, and John and, those guys. But within that, I was coming to, I was reading people, and all of a sudden I got pulled over to apparently Gary. And I started giving him some information. I said, man, they're telling me that you've got a scientific aspect, that you got some team that you're putting together. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly right. And so I gave him a variety of other, validations, and his wife Rhonda was sitting next to him. And he's like, what the flagnog? Yeah, exactly. And his wife, Rhonda, is very intuitive. She uses her abilities. So before the seminar, she asked her scientific team, is any of these beings, any of these psychic mediums able to be on the team? And they said nothing to me. I just did what I did. And here's the information. Great. Hope it helped. Have a nice day. Well, the next day and evening time, I was talking to some guests, and it was in the bar area. We're just having a nice evening. And all of a sudden, Gary comes up to me, and he's like, excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but may I talk to Jamie for a few moments? And, the guests were like, sure, of course. And I, excused myself. I apologize, but I'll be back shortly. And so he takes me over, and he's like, Jamie, I just want to let you know that, a lot of the information made sense immediately. And if you're interested, I would love to have you on my scientific team. Boop! Woo! 15 years, but I did the very thing I set as an intent of success. I attained. That's, for me, it's huge, man. A scientist with practicality is going to ask me to do that, and I got a chance to help possibly maybe give some solid validation, have the fun experience, and to meet all of these beings, man. It was freaking cool. But like I shared a little bit, the neural soul way and how we each looked at a different person, the same person different ways. Those are some of the things that we did, but many others did we do. I worked with another organization, the Parapsychological Research Foundation, and we did soulscapes on those scientific studies. And what it was is we did it through Skype, kind of like we're doing now, only it was a video thing. And before the studies, because there was only a scientist on the other end of the screen, no sitters, nothing. This was complete, neutrality in every way. Now, before the session that we did, and, all of the sessions, for those that we were going to read for, they sent me just a little cloth, a little just clipping of a cloth. That was it. So that I could, if I can, do psychometry and get the vibrational soul print that's on there. So, then they start with asking me questions because I had no idea who anybody is connected to in any way, so that it was purely, solid validation. If you get anything, a piece of cloth could be anything. So I started giving information, and, scientist is writing all this stuff down, and is like, yep, certainly understand that. Okay, yep, and continued. And then I started getting information about the people's loved ones who apparently I was bringing, from the other side, information
Jamie,
through to. Yeah.
I hate to cut you off, but we got to go to our second break, and we'll pick up where we left off, and then we'll also be taking calls from our listeners. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for some great nightlife? The Moose Vancouver is the place to be. Catch a game on one of the big screens, or just come rock out to your favorite 80s and 90s hair bands. Great food starting at $6.95. The Moose Vancouver is open until 2 a.m. nightly. It's easy to find near the corner of Nelson and Granville. The Moose Vancouver is the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Coming September 28th to the 30th, it's our first annual Caribou Paracon, put on by Spaced Out Radio and the Canadian Society of Questers. 3 days of paranormal, supernatural, and spiritual knowledge in the beautiful 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Tickets are $150 Canadian for the event being held at the Spruce Hills Resort and Spa. Come watch our featured speaker, Grant Cameron, along with Lorian Fenton, David Weatherly, Ross Allison, and more. The Caribou Paracon, celebrating everything paranormal.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
When it comes to the news, we look for the stories that the mainstream won't cover. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter. This is News Director Everett Thiemer. The Encounter is about the weird and strange stories that occur daily, and we scour the world looking to bring them to you. You can hear me with Dave Scott every Monday through Friday in our Encounter news segment. Read us online at spacedoutradio.com or check us out and give our Facebook page a like at SOR The Encounter. So come give The Encounter a read.
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from your 4-Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm? Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live, and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, we own the night.
Find yourself constantly looking up in the sky, looking for answers? Have you had extraterrestrial contact? Are you an abductee? Looking for answers to your experiences? Hi there, I'm R. Keith Andrews, Spaced Out Radio's resident ET expert. Join me live the first Friday of every month where I take questions from the Spaced Out Radio chat room and help you understand those from the far-off world. It's 2 hours of knowledge every experiencer should listen to. Hope to see you there.
Tonight's show and topic of discussion do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Spaced Out Radio, SOR Media, or its hosts. Listener discretion is advised. It's hour number 3 of Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa N Thomas. Follow Tessa on Twitter at Tessa TNT. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Now back to the Rocky Mountains. Here's Tessa.
Welcome back, everyone. So great to have you here tonight. And we have Jamie Clark, who is an awesome psychic medium and great energy. If you'd like, go ahead and continue with your story, and then we'll get to our first caller.
What was I even talking about?
It was your scientific experiment, and
oh, that's right, the Soulscape. Thank you.
Yeah.
So as I was bringing through the information, I was accurate with who was bringing it through because they knew who the piece of cloth was connected to. Now they're like, yeah, okay. But then the other side started giving me information about their loved ones. They were nowhere in sight at all. Nothing. It was only the scientist and myself with a piece of cloth. And so, I gave him all this information, and he couldn't validate it at all because it was for, whoever it was for, the families. And he came back to me, on the next study that we did, and he said that a big majority of the information that I was given from their loved ones on the other side for the people who were still here physically living was about 75 to 80% accurate. I had no idea who it was even connected to. I trusted the information of that. Out of 7.5 billion people in one piece of cloth, either really good guesswork or something to it kind of thing. But it was really cool and nice. So, being able to do a variety of different scientific studies in different ways to go, well, scientifically it's proven. Perfect. You don't have to accept it, kind of electricity. Oh, it's scientifically proven. There are people out there that do not use that. Good. Does that work? Perfect. It's whatever works for you. So I'm very honored, but my job was for my own benefit. Let's do scientific studies so it's quantified, systematized, and categorized to go, look, if it can be scientifically quantified in photon balls of light and dimensional frequency merging and all that, okay, well, maybe I'm not so crazy. Here, I'll just share it. I don't know any better, but, a little bit of different perspective. And with the fullness of the solidness, it's given me a lot of confidence to go, what I do, everybody can do, as I always say. You got a soul, you're a psychic medium. It's just what level do you want to take it to? We all have that gut reaction or that that picture that runs through our mindscape that, oh, that was weird because I felt it before it happened. Yep, that was psychic. Right? Out of all the quantum soup of potential, you put all of those ingredients or picked up all of those ingredients out of everything and got the most likely outcome of what was going to happen from all of those quantum soup pieces. That was it. It was really cool. Very honored.
Yeah, super awesome, and what an honor. And, I love that there are more scientific experiments out there for the paranormal and psychic and medium abilities. So
yes, ma'am.
Super awesome that you could be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have area code 604 on. Who are we speaking with?
Hello, Jamie and Tessa. It's Amanda. How are you?
Hey, good, Amanda. Nice to hear from you. Great questions, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I always have a ton of questions.
I'm right there with
never
you.
stop.
Definitely. Yes, ma'am.
What I wanted to ask you, Jamie, is my ex-husband's aunt went missing August 24th in 1988. We all know she's been murdered. Mm-hmm. The difficulty is nobody's been able to find her shell. And when my husband first told me about her, I started getting visions of her glasses being on the ground. Immediately. I actually didn't even see a picture of what her glasses looked like until I brought them up, and they were the exact glasses that I imagined. And little tiny fragments have come through, but I don't know how to read it all, so I'm kind of hoping that you might be able to find another puzzle piece for me so I can start putting it together as to where her shell is.
Yeah, and what state was that? What state was she in?
It's in Chilliwack, Canada.
Okay. And again, just from what I get, but I feel like also she was aware of who this person is. It wasn't so much of a random. If it was and put like that, great, but there's a familiarity to this. And I do kind of feel like she was buried. And what I pick up is, what she shows me is a lot of trees, an area there open, but probably about like a mile in is she buried by a big tree. And I don't know if you saw trees and stuff where the glasses were. I have no idea. But if you did, there's a potential that we're picking up on the same soulscape of what is some of the information potential.
A big rock is what I saw and some dirt on the ground. And I felt it definitely will be a treed area because of that area. 100% she's in the trees somewhere. But I'm still trying to figure out if she was close to the Chilliwack River or not.
Semi-close. Is there, yeah, is there, well, I'll do the best I can, but is there slight hills or slight smaller mountains around some of those areas there? Because she keeps showing me, I don't get the huge mountains. She shows me more of, bigger hills or small mountains. And there's like three, mountain points, like a camel kind of thing, only they're slightly separated. Two of them feel fairly strong and big, and they're maybe, a mile apart, if that. It's kind of what she shows me as an elongated area. But a little bit, there does feel like that river, apparently, if that's what it is. But in addition, it's like, I don't know, maybe like a half a mile from that river area. What it makes me feel like is, one, she is buried, but two, whoever did it was not stupid. They weren't going to bury her too close because the water could rise up, there could be some flood, the body could be uncovered, bump it up, bump, bump. So whoever that was seems to have been pretty effective. And if I get any more, here it is, but I won't make stuff up. I'll do the best I can. And what she shows.
Logging road. Do you see a logging road at all?
Yes.
Yep. Like an old service road?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That location.
Now that's going to start, yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
Ooh,
now that's making sense.
Good. So follow
I was definitely in the right area then when I drove through, because you and somebody else that I spoke to last week on here, I was definitely within that area for sure, which I was feeling like I was. So I'll be returning.
Good.
Awesome.
And
thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome. And please keep us posted. I would love to see you find her, man, and bring some closure. That would be fantastic.
Yeah,
so trust that gut feeling. You're very close to it. Don't give up.
Thank you.
Got it.
Oh, I'm never going to give up. Never.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart. Take care, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
That's powerful.
Very much indeed. She was kind of worried about calling in, and I'm like, don't ever feel bad about calling in. Like, if we can get some closure and find the aunt, like, that would just be awesome.
Yeah. And not only that, I always say if one person says something, all right, whatever. But if more than one says it, maybe there's something to it. Two different perspectives with similar information going, nope, she's freaking right around it. And there is that kind of an old road type of thing. But it's off the road. It's not right next to it. So good. That's going to be great, Amanda, and I would love for you to find her. And, if I can, that brings up an interesting experience. I've had a lot of interesting experiences. But may I share with you or no?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. I had a family come to me, and they had been to me, a number of years prior, and I was doing psychic mediumship, and, they were very pleased. Well, they came to me a number of years later, and the family was looking for their son, because he went missing and he was never found. And so, I was like, let's see if we can get any information. So I start tapping in and I start connecting with him and I start giving personalities and characteristics, and they're like, yeah, that's exactly him. Yeah, same kind of sense of humor and all that. I'm like, okay. So I need to give you what he's showing me in my mind. What he's showing me, and it was kind of freaky, but what he's showing me is there were multiple people around him. He was put on his knees. His hands were tied behind his back. They put a mirror in front of his face. They shot him in the back neck to paralyze him and then shot him in the head. And the next day they found his body. Guess what? There was trauma to the back of the head. That was freaking huge. It could have been anything, yet he showed me that, and it happened. So again, it's very interesting, but a lot of times, kind of like the ant figure, they'll give me some information or locations that they're like, holy crap, that's kind of where it was, or what I felt it was. We're like, well, good, go check it out. But to have that specific information that they're like, well, God, that sounds crazy, and I hope not, but we don't know where he is. And so for the next day, and the exact traumatic thing in the back of the head, they kind of went, holy crap. But they found it, but brought closure. They knew he had graduated life, but also it wasn't the uncertainty for the rest of their life going, I wonder if he's alive someplace in some other country or something. It's like, God, that could drive people crazy. That's why I love helping people that if I can and get information, boop, here it is. And I've done that a few times, so it's a big honor. I'm very thankful.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, that's awesome that you can do that. We have a call here for a 402 area code. Who are we speaking with?
Hi, honey. It's Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
How are you guys?
Hey, Sharon.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. Nice to meet you, too. I have a lot of family on the other side and would really love some advice from my mom, dad, son on what I should be doing, what's happening.
I like your mom's energy. She's very straightforward. She's got kind of an odd sense of humor in a good way and doesn't take crap. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll usually be very accurate with personality and characteristics. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet and a lot of different personalities. Not everyone has the identical same one. So, I just need to be accurate enough to go, yeah, but I don't know you, right, that I'm aware of, and I don't know your mama, but if we can get those, perfect.
You kind of sound like me.
Yeah,
it sounds like me also, but yeah.
Well, beautiful. Now, if your mom did not pass from cancer, she is acknowledging the person who did then, okay, because she comes through with a strong cancerous energy. Now, I can certainly misinterpret it, okay, but she gives me a slice in your energy field. To me, when I get that a lot of times means this kind of a circumstance. Whether it's a family ship, a friendship, a relationship, or a workship, if in the past 6 months or sooner, it could have been today, you haven't had to do this. Here's where I am and here's where you are. We can disagree, or boom, you've cut something off. She's very clear about it, so I hope not, but I'm going to stick to Mama because more than likely she's going to be correct.
Yeah, I think she might have had cancer, but they didn't diagnose it. But I have been concerned that that's what's going on with me. I've had cancer in the past, and I feel like I've got it again, but I can't get any. I can't get any medical. I don't have insurance, so I'm not getting the testing that I.
Okay,
so
and
I'm concerned about that.
I am not a doctor. I cannot diagnose in any way. Well, okay, it's important you know that, all right? So here's the information. You don't have to do anything. All right, because within that, can you at least go get things checked out in any way? Can you pay it out of the pocket and see if maybe you can be paid back through insurance? I will tell you, I think your life is worth more than not paying for something. At least if you can get some solid validation.
Right. I've been trying. I have been trying. So.
There
I'm just
is.
Not sure.
Well, yes, ma'am, of course. And I'm not sure of your financial situation, but, if there's a financial challenge, there are government programs, all tax, and a variety of... Okay, well, I'm just letting you know because
I appreciate that, honey. I do. I used to work for the state, helping with child abuse and neglect. So I do know what's out there, and my state is a bit weird, but I've been trying to get my disability for quite a while. Yeah, I've exhausted all avenues, so rest assured.
Okay, but I do feel like it would be a very productive thing to go get it checked out if you can. Now, I do believe that if you go into an emergency room, they can't deny you because you don't have insurance. Like, oh, you're going to die? Well, suck it up. Yeah, you don't have insurance. Bummer. No, they will take you in, they will do testing, and then you can settle up. You can pay $1 a month, whatever you can afford, as long as you're paying on it. Okay, well, it might be something to think about, because if you don't have money...
No, I do. I did do that, honey. I did. I went into the ER because I collapsed.
Wow.
And they did tests. They did some tests. They refused to let me see the results of the tests. They didn't tell me that they found some matter on my brain. They didn't tell me anything. They just told me to leave. Okay? I've got a running feud with the hospital. So they will take you in, and they may do tests, but they don't have to tell you the results of the test.
Now, here's the thing. I think there might be potentially a legal circumstance, because what good does that do? And they're going to murder you? Really? Really? They had money that could save your life, and they're like, nope, suck it up. You're going to die. Who cares? I'm telling you, Sharon, there is going to be, you don't have to choose, but I feel like there is legal dynamics that could be put to this hospital, to the doctors, whatever the case is, because if you freaking drop dead and they had the information and they didn't give it to you, really? What kind of a doctor is that? I'm very passionate
that's what I said to one of them, because they would turn my dad away, and, you know, he had full coverage, and he had, he was 100% service-connected disabled, plus he paid for Medicare, and I bought one of those AARP supplements so that everything was paid for. He had a whole new trimester, and the ER doctor wouldn't admit him. And the nursing home had sent him over, and he was dying. He had pneumonia, and they wouldn't treat him. And they called the security and made my mother and I leave. It was the most horrific thing, and they know how bad what they did. So they've kind of been coming after me.
Yeah, well, guess what? Then that tells you they're very much aware of what they did that may not have been very beneficial. So, well, okay. You know, you don't have to, but let's get that information out to the public then. Go to news channels. Well, okay, I can only give you information.
No,
Sharon.
I agree.
I respect
No, I
you,
agree
but,
with
you know,
I do. I understand. I've got some, situations right now, and where, they're trying to take my house and everything you can think of.
Certainly.
And I don't know. I really don't know what to do. Everybody is in heaven, except my daughter in New York, and that's just too hard on her, and I don't know where to go.
Well, and it's not easy, but your mom's very straightforward. Hang in there. Okay, she's going to try to set some parameters up to where either you meet the right people at the right time in the right way to get you more, because I don't feel like your mom's going to say it if it's not there. She will do the best she can to follow through on anything that she says. She's playful, but she's serious in that. So she's like, sweetheart, hang on. And hey, do you have butterflies where you're at?
Yes.
Okay,
once in a while.
When you see butterflies, know it's your mom. Okay, and they get, and it's not going to be a cheesy validation like, butterflies exist on the planet. It'll be like, funny but true. It's like, why do I feel like you're eyeballing me? Why do I think of mom? Well, because it has her soul print connected to that butterfly, and it's not like she's driving it around. I equate it when birds... Okay, I equate it when birds are in a flock and they all turn at the same time. They're all in the same channel. That's all mediumship is. It's channels. Tune in and it's playing. That's my point.
Yeah. Yeah, my son, I always, equated him with the butterflies, but he's actually been bringing, falcons.
There you go. Birds. That's why. That's probably why your mom's saying butterflies.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He had this peregrine falcon sitting in my bird bath. And it just sat there. I mean, I drove in my driveway right next to the bird bath, and I'm looking out my window, and there's this falcon. He didn't fly away. He didn't get scared. And I'm just like, oh, my God, how cool is that?
Yeah, isn't it? Don't you find it interesting? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Water is symbolic of spirituality. That bird, being a solid validation spiritually, is going to sit in the water and not even move. Oh, it stayed steadfast, kind of like your mom saying, oh, okay. Well, I can only, share with you.
Yeah, what did she say?
She's like, start listening. You're talking too much, like I do. I talk a lot, man. But that steadfastness, hang in there. Don't give up. She makes me feel like there's going to be some way you get into a freaking hospital and get that information. I'm very passionate about that because I had to watch my whole family die one by one from cancer.
Right.
That,
yeah,
man.
they killed her too.
Yeah, well,
it's been horrible.
Okay, and
horrible, but
if there's a potential, if you've got a phone or if you got a vehicle, maybe drive to a news channel. I'm telling you, they do have areas there. They have people that will go out and check these things out, and they can. All right, they can do a lot of changes.
You're right.
Yeah, well, you just have to do it.
Because
do it.
the news came into the house before regarding this homeowners association. They're doing everything they can to run me out of here, and I'm not getting any help anywhere. So I was hoping Mom could say something.
Well,
you know what happened to me?
What?
You know what happened to me? I was dreaming, and I was yelling at my dad that I needed help now, and I needed to know he was there. In my dream, I woke up, and my mother's picture flew off the wall right on my bed.
Can I share something with you?
Yes.
You had a visit. Here's the difference between a dream and a visit. When you have a dream, when you have a dream, it'll be like, I don't really remember it, but I feel it. That's a dream. A visit will be ingrained in your soul. You don't even have to write it down. You'll be able to recall that, like, nope. And look at how quickly you're recalling it, going, no, more than likely, you're pretty clear about you were yelling at Dad, too, and he was right there. And in your physical reality, symbolically and literally, Mama's picture is going to fly off the window and, off the wall. And now it's like, well, so you think you're still dreaming, or do you see the reality to go, if you get up in the morning or get up now, you'll see the pictures on the floor, not on the wall. And that's when stuff gets real, going, what the? Nobody physically did that. It just the window. That's power. That's what, is a little freaky for me still, because I see it all the time, but physical stuff is like.
Well, Char, I hope.
Tessa, I just have one quick question about this dream the other night. I got to ask him, because I just got a flash of one of my neighbors, and he had on my dad's gold jewelry, his gold necklaces, and I had forgotten, because all of our jewelry's been stolen, everything's been stolen. And he had on this gold chain I forgot my dad had. Do you know what the symbolism or why this person had this on? It was like the one person I trusted, and it's like now I feel like I can't trust them either.
Well, trust that of what you feel. But in addition, potentially, it could be a symbolic aspect as well, meaning that your dad... that your dad has graduated life and he had the beautiful jewelry and it looked great. But now you're seeing it on somebody else. There's a potential. One, yes, this could be the person who ripped it off. But two, what if potentially this gentleman has life experience lining up that he may have a similar circumstance like whatever your dad did? Basically, there's a potential that you're seeing the alignment of his potential graduation in his own life. But it had to be solid enough from Dad going, no, I know his jewelry. I know Dad's jewelry. There's no doubt about it. Well, that kind of a solidness. It's it was
weird because I forgot that he had it. I forgot about that necklace that I saw.
Yeah, apparently he reminded you of it nicely. No, well, it's weird, but now here's at least a little information. Not the only thing, but, if I can share some information about that potential. Remember, it's not only just one way. Sometimes there are other meanings to that very same experience.
Thank you, Char. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hang in there, Sharon.
Thank you. Okay, thanks, Tessa.
Have a good night.
Okay.
Bye-bye. We also have several questions from the chat room as far as readings, and Sandra Heath was wanting just a general reading.
Okay. Sandra, what I pick up for you is If you have not been offered an opportunity in the past 3 months prior to this date or sooner, okay, it could be today. Otherwise, if you haven't been offered this, it is like a 90% chance coming up for you in the next 3 months or sooner. And what I feel like is it's going to be an opportunity. So if you work, great. If you don't, great. It doesn't matter. If you do work for a company or organization or whatever it is, it'll either be that company that offers you more responsibility, another area, another capacity, or literally another job outside of whatever company it is that you work for will offer you an opportunity. Now, just because anything's offered doesn't mean you have to choose it in any way. You don't even have to acknowledge it. You'd be like, yeah, right, whatever. So even though these opportunities are offered to you, right, because they only sound like a nut job till it's validated, and I'm willing to bet if you haven't been offered it, it's more than likely coming up for you, that, again, at least you're on and other people appreciate your talents. So if you choose none of the other opportunities and you stay doing what you do, it's because you choose to, not because you have to. And in addition, what I pick up in your energy field, because I feel like, even though I know everything's amazing and all that good stuff, but I feel like you're starting to find yourself within life again, not lose yourself to it. And when you start finding yourself again, you get that soul address back on the matrix, the unified field. And when you do that and find yourself, like 90% of the time, that usually triggers, because spirituality is practicality. But if you have not had in the past 6 months or sooner, you know, it could have been today, somebody that you used to know, and it will be a year or longer, or way back when. It's not going to be, a couple of months. Nope. It'll be a year or longer from your past that will come back into your present. And they'll be amazing, whoever they are. It's a great thing. But it'll be a little validation for the growth of you because, you know, I'm just me. I don't know. Just doing me. But when you can connect with somebody and possibly you're like, God, it's great to see him. And you know what? Maybe I've grown in my own life experience because I used to think just like that. Okay, interesting. All right. God, beautiful. We're going to go hang out. So it doesn't have to be anything major, but it will be a validation of your own spiritual growth, or at least how you're seeing your reality, potentially different. Not better or worse, but different. So if you've had that, or if not, you know, if you could just maybe in quick and let us know. Otherwise, remember, and again, no guarantees. I'm not going to make crap up, though. I'll do the best I can with an energy read. But I'm usually pretty accurate with people. And, you know, it'll be interesting, you know, kind of like the scientific studies, right? I can't see you. I can't plan words because you just put information there, but I'm going to give you more information beyond that. So if I can't see or hear you, I'm not playing on physical cues or words. You're asking. But I'll usually be very accurate enough to go, it's either really good guesswork or, you know, something to this. So if you can, you know, just let us know if there's anything to what I gave you, or if not, just be open because I'm willing to bet strongly it's coming up for you if it hasn't already been offered.
Yeah, and she says no. So.
Okay, be open. And again, doesn't mean you have to choose it. Just be open because it doesn't have to be a life-changing everything, but it will be an opportunity offered to you.
Nice.
Watch. Yeah, you know, and like I said, sometimes I'll see people, not that I'm always right, but I'm usually pretty good. And sometimes I'll give people information and they'll be like, yeah, right, sure, whatever. And I'm like, no, I can certainly be wrong. I always give myself permission to be wrong, man. I'm not silly. I do the best I can. But like 90% of the time, they either call back or reconnect going, what else you got to say? Because I thought you were full of crap and everything happened. Now anything coming out my mouth is the gospel because they thought I was full of it when I said whatever it was, and now that happened. Now they're listening. And again, not that I'm always right, but if I can do that, that's either really good guesswork or, you know, maybe there's something to it.
Well, Sandra says, great and thanks.
Yeah, definitely.
We have
Thanks
one here from Adnome, and he's asking, Tessa, can you ask him about Brad in Henderson, Nevada? Did he cross?
I hope not, but as soon as you say that, I feel like there's a major energy shift. So there is a strong potential that this person may have passed. I hope not. I hope he's alive standing right next to you and you're just going to go, well, just fake him out. But for some reason, as soon as you say that name, I get a real heavy energy. So again, I hope he's still alive. And if he is, then he might have some pretty heavy or strong circumstances going on in his life. Okay, so if you can possibly let us know. If you know and, you're just trying to pull one over on me, great, that's perfect. But otherwise, just possibly be open. I hope not, but there is a potential because his energy is real heavy as soon as you say that.
All right, I hope that helps.
Yeah, definitely. It's not easy, but like I said, I'll do the best I can in any energy read. And we're all connected, so as soon as I'm talking to you, I have your soul put to address. And then I can connect with anyone you're connected to, because anyone that you do connect to, unless you clear your energy field, you will wear a vibrational pattern, a layer of that person's soul print. And I'll usually be very accurate because they'll ask me, what about my spouse, my boss or my friend? I'll be like, okay, whoever you just labeled that, now I have a target. So I'll go through your energy field. That. Yep.
He says he was my bass player and he OD'd and died. So,
well, thank you. So you're validating it. So very cool. So at least I'm doing my job, and my condolences. I'm sorry about that. But the good thing is right. It could have been anything, but as soon as you said his name, blop, it's got a heaviness. That's why, when it's that kind of crap information, I'll say, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am. But, again, a lot of times I'm usually very accurate. So my condolences, hang in there. And here's the thing. Your friend is going to pay you a visit. And if if you've been listening, the difference between that dream and a visit is the clarity. Okay, so he'll pay you a visit. And he's got a funny, offhanded sense of humor. Okay, kind of weird, but he's a good guy. So, I don't know if he was very serious and all that. Great, but he doesn't come through like... He comes through more playful. So, again, something to think about and keep going. Again, it will be clear. You'll be like, and he looked like him. We were talking about, we were jamming. Yep, well, good. Because when it's that clear, that is a soul connection. Not just through your mindscape, your mind. It's your soul communication.
Nice. And we have a call here from area code 484. Who are we talking to?
Well, this is 330. This is Moonlight.
Oh, hey, Moonlight. How's it going?
Going pretty good, Tessa. I was hoping that Jamie could do a reading for me.
How can I be of service?
Well, I got some health issues that I'm having addressed here soon, and I wanted to find out if if I should go ahead and go through with them. And
I feel like it would, and I'm not a doctor. I cannot diagnose in any way, Moonlight. Okay, but as soon as you're talking about that, I do feel like it would be very productive for you to go see a doctor and, do some testing to make sure that you understand if something's going on. You feel me?
Yeah.
Okay, it would be very productive for you to go do that.
Okay, and as far as anything financial, do you see anything happening with that?
Here's the thing. Did you leave a job? I hope you're still busy and you're just working hard and maybe not making a ton of money. But I feel like you went into a different direction. I don't know if you've ever owned your own business, but if not, it's in your energy field strongly. And if you've never owned your own business and you don't want to, certainly fine. But I will tell you there's a strong potential, again, nothing's done did till it's done did, but that either you come up with an idea about, a business or a service or whatever it'll be. Otherwise, someone is going to offer you an opportunity to go into business with them. They're not going to offer it to you unless you're capable of doing it. Okay, so there's no guarantee, but it's already in your energy field. And just because it's offered, you can be like, yeah, right, whatever, I'm not going to do anything, which is perfect. But I want to be that road sign going, I love you, Moonlight. You don't have to pay attention, but I'm usually a pretty good road sign. And in this, I also kind of feel like you're being pushed to start living more effectively, because when we have health issues, it is not easy, and we begin to survive life. And then when we survive life rather than live it, it will wear us down and tire us out. And then we start doing this. No, I got 12 hours of sleep. I'm just wiped, man. It's weird. So, and I'm sure your heart and your blood pressure are excellent. Please go in and get a checkup. It would be very beneficial for you to do that.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Hang in there, man.
It.
You got it, sir.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one, Moonlight. Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
don't really enjoy doing those physical symptoms, those diseasements. I'm like, that's one of the things I don't quite enjoy so much. Hello, Tessa?
Yeah, and I'm sorry. And it's not recommended to do so because, like you said, you're not a doctor, but
that's
I think
exactly
that was good.
right.
Yeah, good sound advice. D.S. Miller is asking in the chat room, who was the spirit that tormented me as a child? Toledo, Ohio.
I don't know. Why don't you ask? Yeah, take yourself, and you can either, create a visual in your mind or in your, well, you don't want to invite them in, but in that, just put that energy out there. And don't be surprised if you start to get some insight and information. Like you start seeing a name consistently, like that's freaking weird. I haven't seen that, but I've seen it like 8 times in about a week. It's weird. And that could solidly be potentially that person's name. They'll get it to you in an outside physical manifestation. Your job is to metaphysically connect and comprehend it. Okay? So, and again, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to make stuff up. If I don't know, I'm like, oh yeah, and it's George. I don't know. If I get it, though, here it is. Boom, there's the information. But otherwise, I am not sure. At least I'm honest, man. I can I'm going to make crap up. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a 720 area code. Who are we talking with?
You can call me Beth. We'll go with Beth. B-A-S-T.
Hey, what's up, Beth?
Okay. This year has been, it's pretty awesome. June hit, major disruption. But recently, after realizing the abandonment of my birth family, I feel like my father and my grandmother and my great-grandmother have been hanging around. Like, I don't know where I was going with this.
Well, because you're sensitive and you're tuning in. That is fantastic. And, I hope that you're okay with that, because what if there's a potential that I believe that you're saying you may not have had the strongest or closest connection with them, and then all of a sudden from the other side they're kind of coming around you a little bit more. What if potentially that's an energy that, even though they physically weren't here and they may not have connected with you much at all, or if at all, that from the other side they are trying to balance it out or make amends to let you know, even though they didn't do it physically, now metaphysically that they might have a different perspective and feel differently. They want to come in and heal the relationship that was not healed back then than when they were here. Not that that's the only reason, but how do you know? You're specifically saying, well, I feel like it's this person, that person, and a family. How do you know out of all the infinite people you've got a label? Because you're picking up their soul print and because you know how they feel, pretty much. So notice how all of the people and all the souls out there, you're going to know, for the most part, who these beings are. So I need to say you're not making everything up. Trust that feeling, because that's what I do. It's all feelings. Feelings are information. That one feeling is worth 1,000 words and then some. Words are, as I said, just mere mumbling vibrational patterns on our ear nubs. So they're going for your soul nubs. Every time I feel that, those soul nubs vibrate with this information, and that's usually what it is, because when it says hello, that's an acknowledgement and connection and communication. But trust that gut feeling. That's why I'm saying everyone's a psychic medium best. Everyone is. What level do you want to take it to? Just a lot of us don't understand what's happening. They're like, I'm feeling weird. I'm hearing voices and seeing lights and stuff. And my response is, well, good. I know it's scary, but may I share with you potentially what might be happening? And once they get information, it's a little bit easier. Because remember, what we don't understand, we tend to fear. And what we tend to fear, we want to crucify. So, again, once you get out of this physical body, and I can only speak for me, I don't know nothing for nobody, but I've had my spiritual experiences. And on one of those, and almost every single time I have, it's how I felt outside of my body is like the best mood that you have ever been in, the best meal that you've ever had. My soul was full. It was weird. I'm like, I don't know how that is, but I just feel full in a great way. And the words that came to me were, "Who are you now?" I'm like, holy crap. But anyhow, within that unconditional love, there is no judgment in any way on the universe's part. This love allows everything to be, as crazy as it sounds. So a lot of times when you graduate and get out of that physical vehicle, it's just like a car you drive, you don't lose who you are, your personality, you'll tend to, with that unconditional love and the feeling like I felt, and I wasn't dead, I'm like, God, this how it feels? Holy crap. No wonder why a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people that may have had challenges here physically, that when they graduate, they'll be the first ones coming through going, let me tell you this, and there's that, and I apologize, or, here's this. They'll give information, and there's a lot of communication so that they can at least try to mend bridges or try to mend the disconnection that might have been there, or the misunderstanding, or whatever the case is. But the good thing is at least they care enough to come and visit you. Out of all the people, you seem to have an idea of who they are.
I really like the way you explain things.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I just do the best I can to share the information that I get. And I'm about empowerment, man. Nobody needs to be saved. Nobody needs to be fixed. Just showing that power within. Connect with that insight, and man, you can start living life. And that ability is, to be able to make those connections and feel it, because they want you to be happy. They can't make you. But the great thing is look, out of all this time, all of a sudden in June, out of all this time, they're going to come to you because you were ready for it. You clicked, and now you were sensitive enough to go, well, out of all the billions and billions of souls, I seem to have familiarity with these. And it feels like Dad and Grandma and great-grandma. Perfect. That's pretty specific. That's their soul print. That's unique. When I do remote viewing, I was trained by Major Ed Dames, and when you do remote viewing, you get a target, as they call it, and then you put a number to it. This is a holographic number, geometric shapes, numbers, and all that. It gives you a target of vibration, and then you find it. It's kind of how it works. That's pretty much how we are. Our soul vibrates uniquely. Nobody's the same. So our loved ones from the other side know who you are. That's why, I always question, isn't it interesting how our loved ones on the other side, out of 7.5 billion people on this planet, know exactly where you are and can come through, whoever's listening to them out of all the people on the planet? Really? Is that guesswork or, maybe communication? And again, the good thing is you're communicating. Please think about journaling these experiences. You want to get a track record for what you're experiencing. Otherwise, a lot of people will do this. Oh, I don't know. I'm just me. Oh, okay. When if you would have written these things down, you could go, well, gosh, you know what? In June, I started feeling their presence. And then about 2 weeks later, I started feeling the presence and seeing some balls of light. And then about 4 weeks later, bump. So now every 2 weeks, you're being recalibrated on a new frequency of information and the ability to pick it up, kind of thing. Does that help you?
Actually, it does. You pointed me in the direction I wanted to look at. So thank you very much. And you have
beautiful. You got it.
And fantastic day.
Thanks, and thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Boy, you got some great callers, Tessa. That's fantastic. You guys are asking excellent questions. And like I said, if I have any insight, I'll share it. Otherwise, as you can hear, I'm like, I don't know. Share it, man. I want to learn, too. That's the point. The more I know, the more I know. I don't know nothing, man. So I'm always learning. We're always growth-seeking beings. No matter how many dreams, how many aspirations in life you have, once you attain them, we got more.
We definitely have a great group of peeps here.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Definitely.
Andy in the chat room was asking, is my meditation practice working, and is my dad keeping an eye on me from the other side?
Your dad is keeping an eye. I like him. Your dad, okay, Andy shows me my dad. Now, this information doesn't have to be specifically about your dad, but I'm making sure you know who the information's coming from. Not just and they're saying, who's they? We all have they. I'll be as specific as possible out of, all these people kind of thing. So when they show me my dad, a lot of times, okay, that means that either somebody in the family or very close to the family's name either is or was Bill or William. 2 is known for being very intelligent, and or 3, literally an engineer. My dad was Bill, very intelligent and an engineer. Now, sometimes, every once in a while, a person has all 3 of those qualities. They're like, yep, his name was Bill, he was intelligent and engineer. I'm like, damn, that's pretty good. Excuse me, I apologize for that. But we're damming up the water, so it's that kind of a dam.
No worries.
But within that, it's really insightful. Now, for your meditation, how does it feel to you? You're the one who's meditating. Is it bringing you a little bit more relaxed awareness? Are you getting communications? Are you just seeing blackness? What's happening with you? You'll know. You're not silly. Does it feel like it's tuning you in? If it does, keep doing what you're doing. If not, change the approach. It's the old adage, a sign of insanity, keep the same approach and expect a different end result. I'm like, man, I've tried that. It's not working. I'm going to approach it differently. I'm not ignorant, but I'm not going to approach the problem. If I keep trying to focus on the problem to change it, I'm only intensifying the problem. I'm not stupid. Is that the problem? I go for the solution because I know if I hold the vibrational pattern of the solution or the success, that the problem will begin to turn into more of the solution and not stay the problem. People are like, why do we keep getting the same thing? Because you keep saying that. You keep asking it. So the universe is like, oh, you want the same thing. I love you. Here's the same thing. You're like, wow, there's familiarity to this. Well, I'm willing to bet your thought of approach is very familiar or similar to how you keep doing it, kind of thing.
I hope that's helpful. And Andy is a really awesome person.
Yeah, and congrats on doing your connections. Now, in addition, as you're doing the meditations, how about maybe, if you haven't created a spiritual room or a place that you can go to enjoy, to make it your own place so that it's just your energy and you can bring anyone into the room or into your garden or wherever your spiritual connection is. Ask your dad to come and visit you. Don't be, unless you don't. But our loved ones are hungry to connect with us like we are with them, and that's the biggest gift. I'm always honored, but I'm humbled. I always tell people, I'm here for you, but you don't need me. You can make those connections for yourself. Your ability to trust those feelings and the information of how they connect. And I've just, again, I've done it for 53 years, so you get decent at something. But I've learned when my own thought pattern, I'm thinking to myself and communicating, and when someone else is communicating, because it's a different frequency. I know my soul print channel. Everything's channel, light, frequencies, and vibrations, as I say 1,000 times. But I want to just share what I'm aware of. I don't know any better for anyone. But, for me, I know this stuff is real because I put it to the test. I've done scientific studies. To me, if I get a pattern, I'm like, hey, that's working. I'm going to keep the same approach. Perfect. Because I keep getting more of the positive end result.
And Andy says, thank you, Jamie.
You got it, Andy. Keep up the great work, man.
Indeed. And we have a caller from an unknown number. Who are we speaking with?
That might be me. G'day, people.
Hey, hello. Robert.
Hello, Jamie.
Hi. What's your name again? I'm sorry.
Robert.
Robert, thank you. So how can I help you, sir?
I just called in to say thank you for being you, because you sound a heck of a lot like me.
I was just going to say, man, you beat me to it. You're a strong healer. You're a very strong healer. And you also work with some of the Ascended Masters and extraterrestrials. So be open.
I don't know about the ETs. I haven't actually met them yet. I've seen them because I've been over at Dave's place when Carl was there once, but I haven't seen them physically with my own eyes.
Yeah, well, just be open. Just be open. Yep. Here's the thing: they're not going to freak. Yeah, they're not going to freak you out and do it so much physically. Because if you're uncomfortable, why are they going to scare you? They're not going to go against it as a detriment. So they'll do it spiritually, mentally, mental telepathy. That's all I do is work with ETs and all that. But they have a different energy read. They're very good at energy read as well. And I work with different species, not just one. I need all the help I can get. But within that, I also feel like you have multiple healing modalities. And in that, I know, I feel it. I don't know you, but I feel you. And in that, but in that, I also feel like if you're not like putting like a team together, or maybe you're part of an organization in some way, don't be surprised if a few people are like, hey, Robert, we've got this, group going on, and we'd love to have you, if you're interested, be a part of it, because, we're a bunch of healers and we're working on some other modalities, and we've got, the Reiki and the quantum healing and a variety of others. And if you want to be a part, we'd love to have you. Now, just because it's offered doesn't mean you have to choose it. But if you don't belong and you don't want to, fine. But it's pretty strong in your energy field. Now, in addition, I pick up a book for you too. So even if you hate writing and you're never going to write it, it's already in your energy field. So that usually means either you've thought about it. Funny, true. And I can't see it, but I can see golden white light on the top of your head. I can literally see into your mind. So in that, I know that in this particular case, those light frequencies, golden white, vibrate into a new idea of communication, which in your turn is manifesting as a vibrational pattern of a book. Out of all the things, right? That was pretty accurate. Neener.
I have actually been told to do up a book like a kid's book with all the photos that I've taken of the animals of Australia.
Do it. That's funny but true. Look, it's going to write itself. You already have the pictures. You're going to channel a lot of the information, because my guys are telling me you're a channel. Doesn't mean your eyes are rolling back in your head. It's just, wow, that information's flowing. Exactly. You're getting more clear. When you're thinking your own thoughts and when you're having information flow through you. Just the facts, sir. Right? That's it. That's all we need. What are you going to do?
Just the facts, ma'am.
Exactly, because that once they get solidness to go, holy cow, Robert, you're exactly right. All right, what else do you got to say? Because that's either really good guesswork or you're tuning in. Boop. Now, I will also tell you, and there's been a lot of people over the past number of months that are being paid visits by beings from the fifth dimension. It's really fascinating, but a lot of people are like, it's weird, but it was a fifth dimension. They were talking about this, and they showed me whatever the case is. And I'm like, that's a lot of people right around the same time, fairly close together, that they're all saying fifth dimension. I'm like, wow. I work with Pleiadians and some Orion people and many others. But again, in that, they have an energy read. So remember, this is only this planet and how we perceive things. That's why the angels and like Jesus, they're all human. Do you really think that they're human on other planets where they have 9 heads and are purple with 30 arms? I'm willing to bet.
Not when I have a couple of dragons as guides myself, so I already know that there are different creatures out there that have the abilities too.
Yes.
I don't know if you've had dragons, but
yes,
I have.
I actually do, and I connect with a variety of those, and I actually have dragons statues and all that good stuff. You're exactly right. Yes, sir. And that's part of the reptilian energy and all those kinds of things. They've been around. I will tell you, we're not, as you know, Robert, we're not originally from this planet. We were created by ETs.
Yeah.
And again, life is relative. We're ETs to everyone else, so, it's just kind of relative.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, keep up the great work and get moving, man. These kids need the open awareness, because you're doing exactly what I'm about to start doing. I've written some books with my mom who called, The Adventures of Roko and Tuki, The Kids from Mars. And I've taken it to the next level with the comic book called The Intergalactic Adventures, where we have, planet stealers and they're creating their own solar system. It's really cool, man. But boink, I'm just channeling it with my mom. Exactly. And kids are eating it up. I go read in school. And the children's books are a lot lighter. The comic books are way more intense. So I read the children's books about love, understanding, compassion, teamwork, the ability to learn things in a new way without fear but empowerment, and a variety of other things. But when kids can feel that, and it's coming from your energy, and they're like, well, dang, Robert, you feel really good. So anything coming out your mouth, I'm kind of open for. All right, what you got to say? Hey, I love those animals. Cool.
Aww.
You know what? And what else do you have? Which is beautiful. So keep up the great work, sir. And nice to talk with you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Robert. And thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, Host Tessa.
Have a good night or day over there on the other side of the world.
Yeah, see, there's that Australia connection, right? Okay, perfect. Keep the face, brother.
We're in our last couple minutes of the show. Would you like to share your website and ways that people can contact you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that would be good. Yeah, you can check out my website at jamieclark.net. And I've created a TV show. I'm like, hey, watch this. I'm going to create my own show. And so it's called The Gift. And we're doing interviews with science and spirituality and a little bit of what we've done, but also the entertainment where I'll go around and do, random readings, people on the street, all that kind of stuff, man. It's really cool and get the solid validation. Now, in addition, I have a radio show called A View of Humanity on pyramid1network.com every other Wednesday at 3 p.m. Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm also very honored to be sharing and presenting at the AREI, which is the Afterlife Research Institute. And I'll be doing gallery readings with a few other psychic mediums, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So if you're able to, it's one of the few institutes in the world that are putting on these kinds of things. So I'm very honored to be a part of it. And they're connected with Gary Rhonda Schwartz and that kind of stuff. So it's pretty strong networking. It's really
awesome.
So, thank you for doing what you do, Tessa. You do a great job, and you made it easy and fun for me. Really cool. And excellent listeners, man. You guys are awesome. That's beautiful. Excellent questions, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much for coming out. It was so awesome to have you, Jamie. And thank you to everyone in Spaced Out Radio, Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, Deep Talk Radio, and wherever else in the universe you may be listening tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening. It was my pleasure, literally and figuratively. I can't wait to do it again next weekend on spacedoutradio.com. And I will see you all back here tomorrow as Dave is dealing with a family tragedy. Until next time, nighty-night, love and light to all my space cases out there. Don't forget, we're all in this together. Together we can make the world better. And together, my friends, we own the night. You guys have a wonderful rest of your evening and rest of your day for those of you across the pond. See you guys back here tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate you guys.